Chicago Police Department is paying tribute to the police commander who was shot and killed earlier this year.
He was a kind officer, husband, father, and role model that all of us strive to be, and that many of us here today were fortunate enough to have as a friend.
The department held a ceremony yesterday at police headquarters to retire the star of Commander Paul Bauer, killed in the line of duty in February. Chicago mayoral race beginning to heat up. Candidate Willie Wilson accusing Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle of stealing credit from him for a bail reform campaign. Meantime, a volunteer who works for the Gary McCarthy mayoral campaign was fired from the Chicago police force after he violated a protective order filed by another woman. Tribune says Michael Kozenko was removed from the campaign a day after the newspaper began questioning him about his involvement. A northwest suburban Palatine woman is accused of wounding a man during a gang-related weekend shooting outside of a motel. Amanda Lonsfoot is being held on more than $1 million bail. A man previously barred from a mayoral post has been sworn in as the result of action by Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner on his behalf. Roger Agpawa was the top vote-getter in Markham's 2017 mayoral race. However, an Illinois appeals court ruled in April he was not eligible to hold that position because of a prior felony conviction. His attorney, Bert Oldelson, said a certificate from Rauner dated September 14 restored Agpawa's rights of citizenship, and that made him eligible to hold elected office. Oldelson hinted that now the Cook County State's Attorney's Office may take steps to block Agpawa from exercising any power. Cook County judge was reassigned to administrative duties after the state's attorney's office complained the judge used an obscenity in referencing a female prosecutor. Judge Mauricio Araujo allegedly became upset earlier this month when the female prosecutor, a Loyola University Chicago Law School classmate, did not acknowledge him when she entered the courtroom. Cook County Circuit Court Chief Judge Timothy Evans says the court's executive committee will discuss the matter on October 3rd. And was it just bad judgment, or was it a fireable offense? The president of Southeast Missouri State University is apologizing this morning after he was captured on video drinking from a beer bong at a tailgate party. Southeast Missourian reports that President Carlos Alberto said in an email it was a, quote, poor decision, end quote, to accept the drink before SEMO's game against SIU Carbondale. September 15, Board of Regents saying in a statement that it was simply a lapse in judgment, but it doesn't define Alberto. Daniel Palka hit a walk-off two-run single in the ninth to give the White Sox a 5-4 win over the Indians at Guaranteed Rate Field. Chris Archer tossed 6 innings of shutout ball. Pirates blanked the Cubs 6-0 at Wrigley Field. Cubs now cling to a half-game lead over the Brew Crew in the NL Central, but second baseman Daniel Murphy says they're still in a good spot.
We're coming down to the end. 5 games left, if I'm not mistaken. Half-game lead. Like I said, I think a lot of ball clubs would sign up for this. I know I would have about 6 weeks ago wearing a different uniform.
Thomas Van Eck scored twice. Red Wings topped the Blackhawks in preseason hockey 8-6. The news, a service of Compassion International. You can't change the whole world, but you can be part of the change in the world for a child living in poverty. You can choose a child to sponsor now at compassion.com/radio, compassion.com/radio. 5:08, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss Freedom Summit 2018 on Saturday, October 27th. Presented by Geiger Wealth Management, Chicago's retirement planning experts. This year, featuring headline speakers, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark and James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. Also appearing, AM 560's Mike Gallagher, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Precision Payroll of America and by Joe Cotton Ford in Carroll Stream.
I used to post to job boards.
Only to sort through tons of resumes.
Just to find a few candidates for
my sales team.
My hair salons.
That old process was not smart.
Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology scans resumes for me to find the right people.
And actively invites them to apply.
So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
All right, we got a brand new wheat sub here. One grain bread. Do I hear any takers? 1 grain bread. All right, what about 2 grain bread? Let me get a taker for 2 grain. What about you, Jimmy John's? It's a firm head shake. No from Jimmy John's. How about 3 grain sub bread? 3 is not enough. How about 4 grain? Who wouldn't want 4 grains? Jimmy John's still a no. Let's go 5, 6, 7, 8. Want to make it rain? 8 grain. Jimmy John's still a no. All right, what about 9 grain wheat bread?
Yeah, we'll take it.
That's Jimmy John's new 9 grain wheat subs. Going once, going twice. Sold.
Try our new 9 grain wheat sub. Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
With the recent rains and wet weather, Permaseal is working very hard to help every homeowner in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana area. But we need your help. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal Basement Systems. We're hiring in all departments, especially sales, customer service, and installation. We're looking for people with a great work ethic, who have ambition, a positive attitude, want to learn new skills, and have a desire to make the world a better place. Sound like you? Then go to permaseal.net/careers to apply today. No experience needed. We will teach you to become an expert in waterproofing and foundation repairs. Even if you're not presently looking for another job, I'd encourage you to consider working for Permaseal. We offer great training, year-round work, tremendous growth opportunities, and a great, fun work environment. To apply, go to permaseal.net/careers. If you're looking for a career change or a dry basement, you know who to call. Permaseal. 800-421-7325 or go to permaseal.net.
Permaseal. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Let's just ease into Kavanaugh today by starting with Cosby, who was sentenced yesterday. Bill Cosby, 3 to 10 years in prison for 2004 sexual assault, and you shall not remain on bail. You shall go straight to jail, and that's what he did.
Yeah, and that video of him doing the old man shuffle while his arms were shackled, and he's blind, so
he is an old man.
He had to. He had older guardsmen to escort him into the jail where they took his mugshot. Did you see his mugshot? I mean,
he's looking down in shame, I hope, because that's what the direction he should be looking in for that reason.
Yeah, and they're going to process him, and then he's going to go to state prison. And the question is he going to go into general population? I keep saying America's dad is waking up this morning in jail.
Yeah. Oh, you keep saying that?
He's waking up this morning in jail.
It's the signature line on the matter. Here's the prosecutor describing Bill Cosby. I mean, he's no Amy Jacobson, but he tried with a rhetorical flourish.
For decades, the defendant has been able to hide his true self and hide his crimes using his fame and fortune. He's hidden behind a character created, Dr. Cliff Huxtable.
Yes, we're familiar with the show.
He was a seminal character on TV, and so was the family.
Yeah.
It was fiction.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor.
It's called Hollywood. Well, they're in Pennsylvania.
Cliff
a little
Huxtable.
removed.
And before that, he was on Fat Albert, and he was a stand-up comedian, but that was fiction. That's not who he really was. Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, a Fox News producer was in the courtroom and described what it was like, what was on his face and his victim's face when the verdict was read.
I could see his back. He didn't react. He kind of just sat there. Andrea, same thing, didn't react. They both looked very calm. Andrea, at one point, though, after the sentence was read, looked to be like hunched over and kind of just looking down, contemplating what had happened.
Andrea is the woman he was convicted of sexually assaulting.
Yeah. I'm going to try not to call her a John McEnroe looking like. No, see, that's so rude. I'm rude. I got catty early.
I'm going to let you finish that conversation with yourself. In the meantime,
Well, there was some secret audio inside the courtroom.
Now you will get ready for the zim-zam and the babbity-bibbity, and you will
So
take off your
gratuitous.
clothes like voo and voom, and get ready for the most splendiferous pudding pop you have ever seen.
I'm glad you're taking this so seriously.
Well, people thought they heard him reacting that way.
Yeah.
One person that did react, his spokesperson.
Yeah.
His name Andrew White. He said a few different things, but first he compared him to Jesus.
Well,
okay?
the top line, yeah, okay. Well, that is actually a top line. But the other thing is just his whole rant outside the courthouse, the most racist and sexist trial in American history. That's the claim.
I believe and think it is important to point out that this has been the most racist and sexist trial in the history of the United States. Dr. Cosby has been one of the greatest civil rights leaders in the United States for over the last 50 years. He has also been one of the greatest educators of men and boys over the last 50 years. This was not pointed out to the jury or allowed in court because the racist and sexist mass media was attacking and denouncing Dr. Cosby whenever his lawyers even hinted there was racist and sexism present. All three of the psychologists who testified against Dr. Cosby were white women who make money off of accusing black men of being sexual predators. It is no accident that the prosecutor still worked so close with anti-black and anti-male activist groups who tried to extort $100 million from Dr. Cosby in 2014 and continues to produce racist and sexist publicity against him through the 35 clients. What is going on in Washington today with Judge Kavanaugh is part of that sex war that Judge O'Neill, along with his wife, are a part of.
Yeah, you had to bring Kavanaugh into it, didn't you? The most racist and sexist trial in American history for all the reasons and quotation marks you heard from Mr. White. The thing that's sort of enjoyable about that rant, not that it has any foundation, but that it's identity politics being used against the left. You know, white women accusing a black man.
But most of his victims were African American too.
The trial. White women accusing a black man of a sex crime. It doesn't matter what the substance is. It's just white women accusing a black man. If the accusers were less sympathetic and the accused more sympathetic, how would the left have adjudicated this case, given their identity politics? So, I mean, it's just it's a great example of how anti-reason, anti-intellectual identity politics is. You heard it from Mr. Wyatt.
Yeah,
so just remember
but we
that.
had Diamond and Silk on, and they were 100% behind Bill Cosby and thought that he was being wrongly accused, and that's what people did back in the day, Dan. They didn't drink. They came over and had some Quaaludes, you know?
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
But this is my favorite part from Mr. Wyatt. When he compared it, he did the Rod Blagojevich being, wrongly persecuted, like Jesus was.
She has been solid and...
They persecuted Jesus, and look what happened. Not saying Mr. Cosby is Jesus, but we know what this country has done to black men for centuries. So Mr. Cosby's doing fine.
So he's also not saying that Mr. Cosby is going to rise from the dead, but he's also not saying he's not going to. Not saying he's Jesus, but he's not saying.
But he's not saying
he's. I don't know exactly what he's saying, but I go back again. Even there again, black men have been persecuted in this country for centuries. Well, that's true, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Bill Cosby and the specific facts in this case. And it's fun to hear Andrew Wyatt with his demagoguery, because it is not markedly different from the demagoguery you hear from the left as it pertains to Kavanaugh. So in some respects, I'm glad he brought it up, because this is the identity politics the left plays. Who would want to rally to the defense of Andrew Wyatt in defense of Bill Cosby? No one. But the tactic he is using is precisely the same as the left uses against Brett Kavanaugh and everyone else. So it's a great sort of teachable moment.
We have some more audio from inside the courtroom. I don't know if you...
Hey, it's Bud Albert.
Yeah, I heard Rudy was a character witness as well. Tony on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Listen, you know what, son? That just sent shivers down my spine when I heard the prosecutors say that Mr. Pudding Pop there was a great teacher of men and young boys.
No, that
God
was his
only knows what he
spokesperson,
would
not the
teach
prosecutor.
them.
That was not the prosecutor. It was his
Okay,
spokesperson.
it was the lawyer. You're right, his defense lawyer. Yeah, but think about that. What did he teach these young men and and men? That's scary just to hear that. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. The interesting thing, thanks for the call, Tony, is there's another theory about this too, which I don't subscribe to, but it's being bandied about. I mean, that Cosby and Don Lemon, your girlfriend there, the dumbest man on television, made this point yesterday. Cosby routinely made pronouncements about the need for accountability, personal responsibility in the black community. He talked about the absence of fathers in the homes, the increase in the out of wedlock births, and the destruction of the family in the black community. And so some people are suggesting, I've heard it suggested, well, amorphous they went after him because he was sort of touting a conservative line when it comes to family breakdown in the black community. No, I don't think so.
They went after him because he, not allegedly now, they proved that he would render women unconscious and rape them.
Well, they proved he sexually assaulted this one individual.
Yeah, this one
but there
individual.
are 60 some odd women who've come forward.
79.
Okay. To say that he's did versions of what you suggested, drugging and, raping women, and pretty credible allegations, a pretty sick individual.
And a lot of those women would press charges, but the statute of limitations have run out, so they can't.
Yeah, of course. But just going back to, sort of some of the larger takeaways or instruction we can glean from this terrible case and the terrible conduct by Cosby, one had nothing to do with the other. So, yes, you can make pronouncements in public and then you can be a hypocrite in private. So that's obviously the case here. It doesn't defend the hypocrisy, and it doesn't impugn the axiomatic statements that Bill Cosby made about family breakdown. It's not like he's the only one or the first one. He was parroting what a lot of other people and a lot of other scholarship supports. But let's not use they went after him.
Right.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. A great ball player doesn't just hit home runs. He puts the ball in play or gets on base every time he can. And that's what we want to do for you, so that you can be ready for your postseason play, your retirement.
That's why our whole team at Wealth Management Group has their game face on and is ready to help you.
Step up to the plate and make Wealth Management Group part of your financial force.
Start at investwithwmg.com and tune in each week to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Pain drugs are addictive and have side effects. Get off the drugs, get rid of the pain. You don't need to live with chronic pain. Let's repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst from an accident or pain that just develops. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the most respected and successful pain doctors in the world. Dr. Candido will work to find the source of your chronic pain and fix it. He teaches pain management around the world and has been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Okay, you get it. He's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off the pain medication and all of its side effects. You can get your life back. Drugs mask the pain. Find the source and fix it. Call Dr. Ken Candido. Make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain. You be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info at mypainchicago.com.
Renowned medical correspondent and endurance race champion, Bob Arnott, MD.
People ask me, how do you keep competing at the age of 70? Healthy living is important, but so is pain relief. If you have pain, you can't train. So I'm thrilled I discovered Salonpas Lidocaine Plus. This unique topical pain reliever contains 2 safe and effective anesthetics. Nothing has worked better for me.
Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, cream or roll-on.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home.
Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Good morning, my favorite daughter. Welcome to the Auto Hahn Ride Share. I'm your driver, Catherine Hahn. If you'd care for a beverage, just open the Stow and Go storage system and you'll find juice boxes and animal crackers.
Mom, not this again.
In-ride entertainment is available with the UConnect Theater. There's games, apps, and all my favorite movies already queued up.
Bored.
Here at Auto Hahn, safety is our top concern. That's why we only drive the Chrysler Pacifica. Here we are. I expect a 5-star review.
The Chrysler Pacifica. Up your van game. Chrysler is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
People have long associated the Ozinga name with concrete, but truth be told, Ozinga has always been on a quest to create a better world. We want to help you build your business so you can provide for your family, create better jobs, and build your community. It's why we constantly engineer better concrete, haul raw materials, and supply cleaner fuel. Together, we can positively impact the places where we live, work, and play throughout the Chicagoland area. To learn more, go to ozinga.com. That's OZINGA.com.
Chicago has long been a hub of architectural innovation, and the future of Chicago building isn't stopping anytime soon. At Ozinga, we believe it's important to continue pushing the boundaries of the construction industry, but it can't be accomplished alone. Let's build this city with ingenuity, sustainability, and with heart. But more importantly, let's build this city together.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy were talking about the Cosby conviction, 3 to 10 years for the 2004 sexual assault. And, of course, sort of like getting Capone on tax evasion, this underlies a lot of other crimes for which they could not prosecute him, alleged crimes, but pretty credibly alleged. Alina in Lake Villa, I have that right? You're on.
Correct.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I apologize to Amy because I'm not going to be in tone with her, but Bill Cosby was the first prominent black figure in the society who raised his voice against Obama administration, against the problem with the cops. And it's not the cops, it's the people who just feel entitled and they're not doing anything for the black community. People who use the black community for their own wishes, but didn't give them anything, didn't give them hope, didn't give them anything, just kept them in that darkness. And it was the only way to catch him and shut him off.
So you think
I'm a woman, and if I don't want to be abused sexually or to be the subject of some type unwanted sexual advances, I don't go alone in a man's room at 11 o'clock at night. What did they expect him to read Bible?
Well, but what about the allegations that he was drugging women? So it's like, let's have a drink, and then he roofies you. That's a little bit different, isn't it?
Why they accepted drinks from him alone in his room?
Well,
That's
because
true. They did go back, and that was a point of contention at the trial because the defense said no. She called him 3 times on Valentine's Day, 3 months after he apparently roofied her or gave her a Quaalude.
Right.
She was still friends with him.
Yeah.
And then she got $3.4 million from him too. So people were wondering why she wasn't speaking after the trial. The $3.4 million is why she wasn't speaking.
Well, but I mean, if Cliff Huxtable invites you up to the room for a drink.
That's the thing. Remember what Warner Saunders said to me?
No.
I used to work at Channel 5, and Warner Saunders said Bill Cosby was in town. He said, whatever you do not go anywhere with him. Do you hear me? You don't go anywhere.
Well, this is like Harvey Weinstein is like people within the bubble knew.
He's not
or
who
heard
right.
rumors.
He said he's not who you think he is. He's not the likable dad.
It was a way of living for these women. They wanted to advance in their careers, so they would do anything. And now all of a sudden, everybody remembers what happened 36 years ago. I don't remember what happened 36 years ago, and I have a really good memory. So I don't remember, but I also don't go alone in a man's room in a hotel at 11 o'clock at night.
Or to his house.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went.
Thanks
Or
for the
at
call.
his house or wherever, alone with him.
Thanks for the call,
I
Alina.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
just kept
it.
asking where his wife was and all this. And Dan, the most important question: Do you think she's going to be sticking with him while he's in prison?
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, the wife, this is sort of like Sandusky's wife. I feel perhaps most empathy for her. I mean, I don't know what she knew or didn't know, so I qualify it with that statement. But, she's 80 years old. I mean, you built this life, and so you cling to it, so you suspend disbelief. I think that's the case with Hastert's wife, with Sandusky's wife, with Cosby's wife. What am I supposed to do now?
Right.
So I think that's a tough call. Mike in Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, I'm not going to defend Bill Cosby from what the evidence shows that he's really a monster, but
yeah,
I just wanted to point out some of the hypocrisy on the left. Didn't Roman Polanski get like a standing ovation at one of the awards?
Oh yeah.
And when he was accused of molesting a minor, and maybe that's where maybe somebody like that gentleman who was race baiting is drawing some of his fire from. I don't know. I just wanted to get your opinion on this.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, the Roman Polanski is a good example. Absolutely, he was feted at the Oscars, and this is what I was sort of referring to with Andrew White is if the accused was more sympathetic, like Roman Polanski, and the accuser was less sympathetic, like some, I guess, teenage girl they don't know, or because the relationship was quote-unquote consensual, not in the eyes of the law, but in the eyes of Roman Polanski and this
eyes of their heart.
Young woman, right? Then identity politics is totally fine. So all Andrew Wyatt, Cosby spokesman, was doing was hoisting the left by their own petard, and thus the silence, interestingly, in the wake of the Cosby conviction and in response to what Mr. Wyatt had to say. Very interesting.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, breaking news, 4 people backing up Christine Ford's claim about Kavanaugh.
It's all a con, all a big con. That's the only thing the Democrats know how to do. That's what President Trump said. We'll have his comments at 5:38.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Fair skies and 58 degrees. Cleanup is underway after several thunderstorms struck the Chicago area with strong winds and rain. A Chinese national who served in the U.S. Army Reserves is accused of recruiting spies for China. Federal prosecutors say the 27-year-old came to the U.S. in 2013 on a visa that allowed him to earn a master's degree here in Chicago. According to the Tribune, a criminal complaint unsealed Tuesday accuses that man of sending information about 8 potential spy recruits to Chinese state security officers in 2015. Delta says a problem in its information technology system led to a ground stop for all of its flights across the country last night. Things are back to normal this morning. 4 people are supporting Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's claim that Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh tried to sexually assault her when they were in high school in the early 1980s. Ford's attorneys yesterday handed over sworn declarations to the Senate Judiciary Committee ahead of the hearing on abuse charges. Kavanaugh strongly denies any allegation. Senate Republicans are enlisting a female lawyer to question the woman accusing Brett Kavanaugh. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell explained.
We're looking for the truth here. We have hired a female assistant to go on staff and to ask these questions in a respectful and professional way.
The attorney will ask Christine Blasey Ford questions about the alleged assault during the Judiciary Committee hearing. President Trump is looking past the laughs during his speech to the UN General Assembly yesterday.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country.
Some leaders then laughed and groaned when Trump said his administration had made those accomplishments, smiling and saying later he didn't expect that reaction. Meantime, President Trump is bringing the hammer to Iran and will do so again this morning.
Iran's leaders sow chaos, death, and destruction. They do not respect their neighbors or borders or the sovereign rights of nations.
Trump saying Iran is being run by a corrupt government. There will be more debate on Iran and denuclearization later today. The woman who accused comedian Bill Cosby of rape and sexual assault say they finally have justice after he was sentenced to prison.
This has been a long journey to justice for all of the accusers, particularly for Andrea Constant and for her family.
The judge imposed a 3 to 10 year sentence on Cosby in state prison. Flooding could sweep across 2 South Carolina counties very soon. Rivers in Horry and Georgetown counties are expected to crest, sending deep floodwaters into the town of Georgetown. Here in Chicago, the defense will continue to present their case today in the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke. Chicago mayor's race beginning to heat up. Candidate Willie Wilson bashing Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, accusing her of stealing credit from him for a bail reform campaign. White Sox over the Indians 5-4. Chris Archer with 6 innings of shutout ball and a Pirate win over the Cubs 6-0 at Wrigley. That Cub lead in the NL Central is down to a half game. The news service of the T.J. Martell Foundation. The T.J. Martell Foundation, music's promise for a cure. To learn more, visit tjmartell.org, tjmartell.org. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher, once again, has to do the mainstream media's job.
More economic great news. Optimism among small business owners reached a record high in August. So we keep seeing these historic record statistics and information. And guess what? It's being ignored.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4343 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4343. Enjoy.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Makers and doers, have you heard of the Technology and Manufacturing Association? TMA represents nearly 1,000 manufacturers and over 30,000 manufacturing employees in the Chicagoland region. Headquartered in Schaumburg, TMA is a comprehensive resource for Midwest manufacturers looking to improve operations, strengthen their workforce, and grow their business. We strengthen our members by providing business support services, events, networking opportunities, and government advocacy. TMA is also a leader in training and education, helping our manufacturers develop the talent they need to grow and thrive. At our Schaumburg Training Center, our industry-leading instructors are providing hands-on training to prepare the next generation of makers. The TMA Education Foundation has donated over $1.5 million to area schools, providing young people with exposure to today's high-tech and high-paying manufacturing jobs. As a leading voice in an evolving industry, TMA cultivates and strengthens our members. Consider joining our member-driven association as we support each other. Learn more at tmaillinois.org.
5:37. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Jim Talamonte.
Kennedy inbound traffic is heavy. 190 to Cumberland. It's overnight construction. It's 22 minutes, so here to downtown. Eden's fine. Inbound Eisenhower. Stop and go. Ashland at the Burns Circle. Ramp to the outbound Kennedy. Reopening shortly. 33 minutes. 390 to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Stevenson is okay. Some road work at LaGrange Road is set to clear. Ramps there. Ryan is fine at the moment. I-57. 18 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 427. It's heavy from 103rd to the Ryan. That's due to construction. Lakeshore Drive. Upper and lower levels. Bridge over the Chicago River now set to reopen after overnight work. Bridge lifts. Wednesday start this morning. Traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Clouds and sun today, breezy and cooler. High only of 68. Clear skies and 49 degrees overnight and a high only of 70 tomorrow. Currently 53 degrees at O'Hare, 57 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 6, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Don't miss David Clark and James O'Keefe at Freedom Summit 2018. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com.
And some breaking news about Freedom Summit tomorrow morning on this program. We will announce our breakfast speaker, and you're going to want to listen, and you'll always have a chance then to get your tickets to Freedom Summit. Our own Mike Gallagher, as I mentioned, will be there along with Noah Rothman and others. We will be there as well.
Amy Jacobson will be there.
Dan Proft. So get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. It's presented by Geiger Wealth Management, Chicago's retirement planning expert. And listen tomorrow morning on the show when we announce our breakfast speaker.
And now let's listen to President Trump after delivering his speech before the UN General Assembly, which we'll get to a little bit later in the show.
Because we need the laugh track.
And also the substance of his comments, too. There's that, of course, the D.C. press corps largely ignores because they're children. But Trump responded to the state of play with the Kavanaugh confirmation, saying this about Democrats.
I think he's just a wonderful human being. I mean, I think it's horrible what the Democrats have done. It's a con game they're playing. They're really con artists. They're trying to convince. They don't believe it themselves. Okay. They know he's a high-quality person. They don't believe it. It's just resist and obstruct. They're playing a con game, and they play it very well. They play it actually much better than the Republicans. They're lousy politicians, and they have lousy policy. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They want to get rid of ICE. They want to get rid of law enforcement. They don't want to take care of our military. They want to raise your taxes. But they're good at one thing. They go to one thing. That's obstruction and resisting and con.
Con game? Con! 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. Does President Trump have it pretty much sussed out what the Democrats are trying to do, what their interest is, what their concern for the truth is? We'll take your calls. Trump went on to suggest that this is bad for the Republic, horrible for the future, if Kavanaugh's confirmation were to be derailed by this.
It would be a horrible insult to our country if this doesn't happen. And it'll be a horrible, horrible thing for future political people, or judges, anything you want. It'll be a horrible thing. It cannot be allowed to happen. And the Democrats are playing a con game, C-O-N. A con game. It's a shame. And they know it's a con game. They know he's high quality. And they wink at each other. They're winking. They know it's a con game.
You stop that winking.
Yeah, they're winking like, yeah, I got this. But, I mean, he did attack the accuser a little more than I thought he should have, saying she was drunk at the second accuser.
To Deborah
when they
Ramirez.
asked whether or not she should be able to testify.
He has a chance to be one of the greatest justices ever in the United States Supreme Court. My administration.
Yeah.
They know it's a con game.
Yeah, we'll find it. But
So-
basically went on to say, how does she remember? She was drunk.
If
She was incapacitated.
All he did was repeat essentially some of the details from the New Yorker piece and Deborah Ramirez. By the way, Kim Strassel reporting, tweeting out, important, sources tell me that Senate Judiciary staff have now asked Deborah Ramirez through her attorneys to provide a statement or any corroborating evidence on 5 separate occasions, each time declined.
Yeah, Senator Kennedy came out last night on MSNBC, I believe, and said that she's not going to be testifying because she's declined. They've offered it to her, and she said no.
So Strassel goes on to say, so anyone who says Republicans aren't providing the second accuser with a chance to present evidence is speaking false. The Senate can't be expected to handle an allegation if the accuser won't provide a statement to official investigators. I think that's a fair read on the situation. So that's Deborah Ramirez and the state of play with Deborah Ramirez. Christine Blasey Ford, the line of attack, as is being prosecuted by Democrat senators on her behalf, is twofold. One, FBI investigation. Two is the old white Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee should be the ones asking the questions, not outside counsel they've retained, a sex crimes prosecutor from Arizona.
Yeah, her name's Rachel Mitchell, and she's going to be, they're ceding her time to her. So how this is going to go down is Grassley and Feinstein are both going to make opening statements. Then Chrissy Ford, she has an opening statement with no time limits. First round of questions from each senator, each gets 5-minute limits, but all the Republicans are ceding their time to this female outside counsel.
So let's take the two prongs of the Democrats' sort of fallback position at this juncture, which is the old white Republican men on the Senate Judiciary Committee should have to ask the questions, not outsourcing, and that the FBI should be investigating. And if the Republicans are interested in the truth and perhaps even clearing Kavanaugh, then they should support the FBI investigation. We'll take your responses to either one of those arguments.
What's the FBI going to investigate? She doesn't know where it happened. She doesn't know what month it happened. And she doesn't know how she got there or got home. I mean, her story is so flimsy, and the other lady's story is so flimsy that the New York Times didn't even go with it. So there's no there. I mean, honestly, it's such a joke when everyone says the FBI should investigate.
I'll cede my time to one senator from the great state of Delaware. His name is Joe Biden, not a senator anymore, but he was in 1991 during the Clarence Thomas hearings. He was on the Senate Judiciary Committee. And he had this to say to Clarence Thomas during the proceeding with respect to FBI investigations of Anita Hill and her allegations.
The next person that refers to an FBI report as being worth anything obviously doesn't understand anything. FBI explicitly does not, in this or any other case, reach a conclusion. Period. So, Judge, there's no reason why you should know this. The reason why we cannot rely on the FBI report, you wouldn't like it if we did, because it is inconclusive. They say he said, she said, and they said. Period. So when people wave an FBI report before you, understand, they do not reach conclusions. They do not make, as my friend points out more adequate, they do not make recommendations. So, Judge.
Yeah. Well, boy, now this was back when Joe Biden was still like losing his hair before he had it replaced with that alfalfa field that he had planted. So perhaps his opinions have changed, but that's what he said back in 1991, just in terms of establishing a viewpoint on FBI reports. Charlotte in Arlington Heights, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's interesting that our own Dick Durbin apparently was on that committee, and Chuck Schumer. Do you think they could remember that statement back in 1991?
So long ago.
Yeah.
They were drunk.
Another point, didn't Joe Biden say the presumption is with you, Judge Clarence Thomas, meaning we presume you're innocent until you can be proven guilty by corroborating witnesses?
Yes, he did say that.
Well, there's no
Thanks
presumption of innocence. The Democrats already made up their minds that they don't even need to see the evidence or hear from Brett Kavanaugh, or even hear from the accuser. I mean, it is going to believe. It's going to end up being which senator believes which person.
Chip in St. Charles.
Old Joe Biden, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, truly.
The Democrats don't care about Blasey Ford or any of that. They don't care if they tear down a good man like Brett Kavanaugh.
ideology is everything to them, and that's what drives them. And if they have to tear up some good people to get to their ideology, that's just what they're going to do.
Thanks for the call, Chip. John in Portage Park.
I just wanted to say that I think that the end game for the Democrats is that once Trump is out of office, either naturally or by impeachment or by whatever, and the Democrats take control of the House, Senate, and presidency, and they replace all of these things, they're going to say that it was Trump's fault that the economy is going downhill and that the country went down the tubes.
All right, thanks for the
I
call, John.
absolutely loved what Senator Lindsey Graham said last night on Fox News Channel. I don't know if we have time here, but he basically said she's the victim. This Christine Ford, they used her.
Dr. Ford is being abused as much as anybody else. She said she didn't want to come forward. Somebody on the other side leaked her name, not us. She's been a victim of this as much as Kavanaugh has. And here's what I'm telling your audience. This is an accusation that's 35 years old. You can't tell me where it happened and when it happened, and everybody named in terms of having been there say it didn't happen. So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then the police came and took him away. No, they were doing a live shot outside. But Graham voted for Kagan and Sotomayor. So he thought, he said, what is this last minute? They know that he's a good man. They know he'll be judicious and that he's a great judge. But then they throw this in.
Well, it's also, you get to a point, what is the FBI? The FBI should investigate, so on and so forth. What's left for the FBI to investigate? You've got so many people who've come forward who've offered statements. By the way, just because the FBI wants to talk to you doesn't mean you have to talk to them unless you suggest that the Senate Judiciary Committee compel people to testify or provide statements, or you get a court order demanding the testimony from people who aren't, or a custodial interrogation of people who don't want to voluntarily speak. So this sort of FBI investigation just sounds like fair play, sounds like thoroughness, but it's really flimflammery because of all that's been provided, because of the choice that people have to respond to inquiries from the FBI or not, and also just because of the substance of the corroboration that's being provided by Blasey Ford. These four people you referenced that are...
they wrote letters to the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Right. There's nothing new here. None of them were there when this incident allegedly occurred. These are all people that are in her friend circle that she's spoken with over the last 5 years to allegedly detail what happened in 1982.
Well, this is great because one's her husband that we know of. The other's a woman she met on this is a woman she met on a playground, and she was angry about Brock Turner, the Stanford swimmer. And so she was talking to somebody on the playground about it, and then later said, well, it was Kavanaugh. He's a federal judge, and he's the one who did something inappropriate to me. That woman wrote a letter. And again, this all happened between 2013 and 2017.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
So
that's the new
what is the probative value of that?
That's all she has.
It's the same thing as Keith Ellison's accuser presenting a medical report where she dictated to a medical professional what she alleged Keith Ellison did to her. So that's not a medical professional judgment. That's just a medical professional memorializing what she said about Keith Ellison. That has no probative value. And I know this isn't a court of law. It's a fact-finding mission. But how does that in any way advance us from the he said, she said? When the people who were actually allegedly at the incident that she leveled up to corroborate her story have all not corroborated her story, which has more fact-finding value.
Well, as far as we know, all she has right now is those 4 letters and her own recollection of what happened.
Alex in West Dundee.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Well, this is all they got left. If they can't use the race card, they're going to use the rape card. So they should just vote on this guy and stick it to him.
They are taking a vote on
Friday.
Vote.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, vote scheduled for Friday
to
begin the process of confirmation or
get it
voting up the nomination at least. Tony in Downers Grove.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. I called last week. I said there would be another person that would come forward, and another one did.
Yeah.
And
so
I said no.
Again, I can't believe we're at this place. I can't believe that we're discussing now that we're seriously discussing FBI investigations, and now that there's 4 people that wrote letters, I think Kavanaugh's done, because Murkowski and the other idiot from Vermont, they're not going to vote for Kavanaugh. This is.
You mean Susan Collins from Maine?
Susan Collins. I'm sorry, this is fait accompli.
I don't think so. Be less fatalistic. Thanks for the call, Tony. I think, barring something coming out tomorrow, assuming this goes forward and Blasey Ford shows up, barring that, I think Mitch McConnell gets this confirmation done. I think, and remember, you can lose Murkowski and Pence can be the tie-breaking vote. I think we're very far away, just because Murkowski made that offhanded comment about the FBI investigation that the left is grabbing onto.
She said it would help.
Murkowski being wobbly, that is not dispositive of the issue. We'll see what happens tomorrow, and we'll see how good Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn are at whipping their caucus, while red state Dem senators stay silent because they're in solidarity with their leadership until it's a fait accompli the other way, and we'll see who folds and who doesn't. But we'll get to whether Kavanaugh is undermining the Me Too movement or the Me Too movement is undermining Kavanaugh a little bit later on the show. But don't be so sure just because you have now in letter form what we already knew to be true that this somehow represents a new turn in this case. It does not.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I used to post to job boards,
only to sort through tons of resumes,
just to find a few candidates for
my sales team,
my hair salons.
That old process was not smart.
Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology scans resumes for me to find the right people
and actively invites them to apply.
So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
All right, we got a brand new wheat sub here. 1 grain bread. Do I hear any takers? 1 grain bread. All right, what about 2 grain bread? Let me get a taker for 2 grain. What about you, Jimmy John's? It's a firm head shake no from Jimmy John's. How about 3 grain sub bread? 3 is not enough. How about 4 grain? Who wouldn't want 4 grains? Jimmy John's still a no. Let's go 5, 6, 7, 8. Want to make it rain? 8 grain. Jimmy John's still a no. All right, what about 9 grain wheat bread?
Wheat, yeah, we'll take it.
That's Jimmy John's new 9 grain wheat subs. Going once, going twice, sold.
Try our new 9 grain wheat sub. Jimmy John's. Wheat, yeah, freak, yeah.
Al Kovac Jr., Navy veteran, Paralyzed Veterans of America.
You fought the good fight and served your country with valor. Now it's our turn to fight for you.
Sherman Gillums Jr., Marine Corps veteran, Paralyzed Veterans of America.
We help you secure full benefits, quality health care, and job opportunities.
To learn more, visit pva.org, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Hey, join the Heartland Institute and me on Friday, October 26th for their 34th anniversary benefit dinner at the Cotillion in Palatine. I will be your MC, and the featured speaker will be Judge Andrew Napolitano from the Fox News Channel. Judge Napolitano is nationally known for watching and reporting on the government, and his no-holds-barred, hard-hitting commentary on government overreach and the abuse of our rights. Register today to reserve your VIP tickets or a whole table and meet Judge Napolitano. His important and unforgettable speech will be on the Constitution and human freedom. Also be there to help celebrate the lives of 2 people who have dedicated their lives to advancing liberty. Heartland Liberty Prize winners Joe Bast, the co-founder and former president of the Heartland Institute, and his wife Diane. Don't be held in contempt. Join the Heartland Institute and me, Judge Napolitano, on Friday, October 26th at the Cotillion in Palatine. For tickets or information, call 312-377-4000 or visit heartland.org. That's 312-377-4000 or heartland.org. I'll see you there.
Hey guys, Ken here from the award-winning podcast Today's Growth. If you had to choose sides, which camp would you rather be in? Would you rather have time and no money, or money and no time? Did you know that 95% of U.S. adults by choice have settled into these categories? Much more interesting is that 1 out of 20 people have built their life around achieving simultaneous control of both time and money. What choices did these 5% make that the others didn't? My friends at Income Store have shown both households and businesses how to build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams for the express purpose of gaining control of time. When it comes to helping folks create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out incomestore.com. That's incomestore.com.
Don't you love fall and sleeping with the windows open? But are you really sleeping as well as you could? The MyPillow buy one get one free offer is back for September. And if you haven't bought your MyPillow yet, here's your chance to get one for yourself, a loved one, or maybe as a gift. I love that I can move the field to get the support I need regardless of my sleep position. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. My pillow is made in America, washable, dryable, hypoallergenic, and has a 10-year warranty plus that 60-day full money-back guarantee. So go online or call now for this great buy one, get one free deal on premium My Pillows. You can also get 30% off everything else, including the My Pillow mattress toppers, pet beds that my dog Bunky loves, luxury Geyser cotton sheets, and more. Call 800-489-0201, use the promo code Amy, or visit mypillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
They want to hold a hearing tomorrow, then vote Friday. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the plan at the Senate Judiciary Committee, where Republicans have hired somebody to do their questioning tomorrow when Brett Kavanaugh's accuser and the Supreme Court nominee testify about her claims he groped and tried to sexually assault her as a teenager 36 years ago. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Dave, Arizona prosecutor Rachel Mitchell will question Christine Blasey Ford and Judge Kavanaugh at the hearing. Republicans say they hired Mitchell, who has experience investigating years-old allegations, to depoliticize the process. GOP Senator John Cornyn.
But any Republican senator can ask questions they want to in addition, and certainly our Democratic colleagues are free to do what we're doing.
Committee Chair Chuck Grassley has said a potential vote on Friday, a move ranking Democrat Dianne Feinstein calls outrageous. Grassley says the vote could be postponed if lawmakers aren't ready. Dave.
Rachel, Bill Cosby spent his first night behind bars, starting to serve a 3 to 10 year sentence. Fox's Gernal Scott's live in Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Dave, Cosby is at a state prison here in Montgomery County in a cell near the prison infirmary. He will serve his sentence for the sex assault of accuser Andrea Constand, who DA Kevin Steele says they spent 2 years seeking justice for. But this case is not being let go by Cosby's representatives, who say Steele used illegally obtained evidence to get that conviction and the sentence. Defense attorneys intend to appeal the conviction and the sentence as they pursue this case, Dave.
Gernal, President Trump will continue to focus today on Iran at the UN, chairing a Security Council meeting the day after telling the General Assembly,
"We cannot allow the world's leading sponsor of terrorism to possess the planet's most dangerous weapons."
Iran's president, who spoke after President Trump at the UN, said the U.S. is trying to overthrow his government, calls today's council meeting preposterous and abnormal. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Fair skies this morning and 55 degrees. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Cleanup is underway after severe storms hit the Chicago area hard, especially in the northwest suburbs, McHenry and Kane counties, with downed trees and power lines centered on Huntley. Strong storms triggered warnings from much of the region. About 37,000 ComEd customers at the height of the storms lost power. This morning, it's a Chicago Tribune story that is stirring national headlines. A Chinese national who served in the U.S. Army Reserves is accused of recruiting spies for China. Federal prosecutors say the 27-year-old came to the U.S. in 2013 on a visa that allowed him to earn a master's degree here in Chicago. According to the Tribune, a criminal complaint unsealed this week accuses him of sending information about 8 potential spy recruits to Chinese state security officers in 2015. The defense continues to present their case today in the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke in the deadly shooting of black teenager Laquan McDonald in 2014. A fight in the Wrigley Field bleachers in which a fan hurled racial slurs is going viral. Another fan recorded that brawl on Hispanic Heritage Night at the Cubs-Pirates game Monday night. Everyone involved interviewed and then banned from the ballpark for the rest of this season. Chicago Police Department paying tribute to the police commander who was shot and killed earlier this year.
He was a kind officer, husband, father, and role model that all of us strive to be, and that many of us here today were fortunate enough to have as a friend.
The department held a ceremony yesterday at police headquarters to retire the star of Commander Paul Bauer. A volunteer who works for the Gary McCarthy mayoral campaign was apparently fired from the Chicago police force after he violated a protective order filed by a woman. The Tribune is reporting that Michael Kozenko was removed from the campaign the day after the newspaper started questioning him about his involvement. Daniel Palka's walk-off two-run single in the ninth gave the White Sox a 5-4 win over the Indians. Chris Archer tossed 6 innings of shutout ball, and the Pirates blanked the Cubs 6-0 at Wrigley Field. Cubs face the Pirates again tonight, clinging to a half-game lead over the Brewers in the NL Central with 5 to play. The news is a service of Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. Help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. 6:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Famous Winston Churchill quotes, presented by Automated Systems.
Winston Churchill wisely stated, "A nation that forgets its past has no future." This surely resonates with at least one of our major political parties in America.
I know you support companies that share your conservative values. For FDA-regulated staffing needs, Automated Systems provides top talent, from experienced quality control and quality assurance engineers to top validation and compliance experts. Depend on Automated Systems. Hiring the best is critical to success. ASI Resources are all degreed professionals with decades of experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. That's why ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For a staffing evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems, toll-free 844-HIRE-ASI, or visit AutomatedSYS.com.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salonpas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salonpas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salonpas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
When posting on most job sites, you get candidates.
I'm the sales director.
I'm the sales director you're looking for.
But when you post on Indeed.com, you get the candidates just right for you.
I'm a sales director with an MBA, over 10 years experience, who's also fluent in Japanese.
With Indeed, you can add screener questions for a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates.
Arigato.
Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
I have discovered the perfect way to get my monthly medications. They come right to my door, right to my home, gogomeds.com. This is an incredible new way for you to have all your prescription medications filled at a lower price without ever having to go to the pharmacy. Have you heard of GoGo Meds? GoGoMeds.com is a breakthrough online pharmacy, and it's for all of us who want lower costs on prescription medications and who don't want to sit behind 10 cars at the drive-thru or wait in line all day at the pharmacy. Imagine that. Your doctor simply sends your prescriptions to GoGo Meds, and then your medicine is delivered to your home. I get my hay fever medication like clockwork from GoGoMeds.com. You can select from an extensive list of generic drugs online. That'll save you even more money. The reason they save you money is because they partner directly with the manufacturers. Go to GoGoMeds.com, promo code Mike2018. You'll get $10 off your first prescription, and you're going to love this process. I sure do. GoGoMeds.com. Use the promo code Mike2018.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America invites you to take steps for cures at a walk event near you. Support the 1.6 million Americans living with these diseases. Get started at cctakesteps.org.
6:08. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
In Huntley, northwest of Chicago, signals are not working along 47 between Main Street and Reed Road due to a power outage in that area. Berwyn area crash in Ogden at Harlem. Edens is fine right now. Kennedy inbound, tight 190 to Cumberland. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, Glacier at Wolf, 34 minutes, 390 to Burn Circle. About 30. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Inbound Ryan. Heavy from the merge, 76. 31st Burn Circle. 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. Up on 17. I-57, 20 minutes, ID to the merge, Bishop 423. Eastbound Adams Tollway jam. Tri-State onto the Kennedy. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Breezy day today with a mix of clouds and sunshine with a high of 68. And it'll turn out to be a clear night for tonight with a low 49. Mix of sun and clouds throughout the day tomorrow, high of 70. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
51 at O'Hare, 55 along the lakefront, 47 this morning in Aurora under clear skies. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by the Townstone Financial Show, Saturday afternoons at 1. Nobody values your mortgage business like Townstone. Listen and call for the best advice.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy picking up on our conversation about the Kavanaugh confirmation from last hour with a hearing involving both Kavanaugh and Ms. Blasey Ford set for tomorrow. The two arguments that Democrats are making, sort of their fallback position, two prongs. One, there should be this FBI investigation, beating that drum. Talked a little bit about that, had a little help from our friend, then Senator Joe Biden, from the 1991 confirmation of Clarence Thomas, where Joe Biden roundly dismissed the import of FBI investigation, which isn't much of an investigation at all. It's just interviewing and compiling a report that some people said this and other people said that, and you make your own determination.
And then someone would have to decide whether or not to press charges. I mean, the FBI does their investigation, and then some, attorney's office or state's attorney or...
They don't reach conclusions.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Right, that's the bottom line.
And the second argument is... that these Senate Judiciary Committee Republicans shouldn't be outsourcing their questioning of Ms. Blasey Ford to a female sex crimes prosecutor from Arizona. They should have to ask the questions themselves.
Well, Senator Lindsey Graham did say yesterday that, if there needs to be extra questions asked, that they will ask the questions. But Graham is ceding his time to this woman, and her name is... Mitchell.
Raquel Mitchell.
Yeah, Raquel Mitchell. And she's the head of the Bureau of Chief Sex Crimes for Maricopa County, Arizona.
Let me just...
registered Republican, I'm getting that out there.
Yeah, let me just ask this question. Follow the logic here. Connect dots. So Senate Democrats say that Republican members of the Senate Judiciary Committee are Neanderthals incapable of being fair to Ms. Blasey Ford. Her attorney has complained that Chuck Grassley, who has been too fair.
He's bent over backwards for this woman.
He hasn't been fair. He's been overly accommodating, in my estimation, but okay.
He's even Ubering her out here.
So Senate Judiciary Committee members, Republicans, are Neanderthals incapable of conducting a fair inquiry into Ms. Blasey Ford's allegations. But at the same time, you want them to question her. So if they're incapable of being fair, but you want them to question her anyway, how is that consistent with the search for the truth? I mean, it's just, is this obvious? So you want them to question her because you say, and I don't say this, the esteemed Mazi Hirano from Hawaii says that they will expose themselves for who they are. So why would I thought this was a search for the truth. I thought this was a fair inquiry to try and get past he said, she said, to the truth. But yet you're saying we demand that people we say are irreparably unfair question Ms. Blasey Ford. How does that make any sense?
It doesn't make sense.
It's one or the other. You're either interested in the truth or you're interested in political point scoring. And you tell me, after you listen to Mazie Hirano, where you think their interest lies.
I think this is an example of the Republicans on the committee not wanting to reveal themselves to the American public, because what should be happening is that we should be asking the questions. And I think it's perfectly reasonable for Dr. Ford's attorneys to want to know who this prosecutor is. And by the way, this is not a court of law. This is not a criminal proceeding. But it should be very obvious to the people of our country by now that the Republicans do not want to question Dr. Ford directly, because it will reveal who they are. And I think they're afraid of that.
Okay, so let's stipulate that's
they're white American males. Who cares? So, I mean, Orrin Hatch, you think that he hasn't gone through this process before? Lindsey Graham would be wonderful asking questions. I mean,
it doesn't matter. What white men are incapable of asking substantive questions of anyone, particularly someone who is alleged to be a victim of sexual assault. Okay. Again, so stipulated, Senator Hirano. Then why would you want them to ask those questions that they're incapable of asking? Why would you want them to be unfair and to this victim and be re-victimize her in the process? Why wouldn't you want? According to you, let's start from your premise. Why wouldn't you want a professional in this space who has dealt with victims of sex crimes and prosecuted sexual predators, sexual criminals? So she knows how to do this. This is what she does day in and day out. Why wouldn't you want that person to ask the questions? I mean,
this woman's compassionate. She knows what she's doing.
Right, but that's not the issue.
Right, I know what
the issue is. The Dems.
Well, what do you think? They should not have Rachel Mitchell come? Should they ask the questions themselves?
Both sides, to me, one side is running scared. That's the Senate GOP members of the Judiciary Committee. Mm-hmm. And the other side are political predators, and they don't care. They don't care who they chew up. So Lindsey Graham is absolutely right, and others who've said the same in the last week. Ms. Blasey Ford is just a means to their end. They don't care whether she was sexually assaulted or not, and they certainly don't care what the truth is.
What do you think Cory Booker's line of questioning is going to be? He's going to have 5 minutes up there, and Kamala Harris. It's going to be another circus.
So the Senate Judiciary is outsourcing, Republicans are outsourcing this to the prosecutor because they don't want to get into this trap of, you took the wrong tone with her, or that was an unfair question because you're an old white man. I mean, John Cornyn has argued cases before the Supreme Court. He can't ask legitimate questions of Ms. Blasey Ford. You or I could ask legitimate questions of Ms. Blasey Ford. Millions of Americans could, but no Senate Republicans can. Give me a break. It's a joke. So this is political optics, obviously. But outsourcing it to a professional sex crimes prosecutor, that's a good way to somewhat blunt the politics the left wants to play, as they've exposed themselves as being only interested in doing that. So I understand the position, even though it riles me a bit to have to essentially capitulate in part to the identity politics of the left by saying, yeah, the optics are bad. Old white men that are Republicans, we look like we're quote unquote bullying, whatever the hell that term means anymore. Blasey Ford by asking her any pointed questions. So let's outsource it to a female professional in the space. It's where we're at. Bill in the north suburbs, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, look what Trump's been battling since he started his campaign. Would any Republican want the FBI getting involved?
Well, I mean, it's not the Jim Comey's FBI anymore. Thanks for the call, Bill. So, I mean, I appreciate the skepticism. But here again, the question is just how much of a value add an FBI investigation has the potential to be.
How fast would that FBI investigation go?
don't know.
Where do we start?
I don't know.
You need a time, place, a date. And they don't have that. She thinks maybe in the summer of 1982.
Well, let me ask you this question. This is a larger question. It's interesting because they're sort of competing op-eds on the topic. One from Nate Silver over at 538 blog, and the other from blanking on her name, National Review writer on Kavanaugh. Which is it that the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing undermines the Me Too movement, or the Me Too movement has undermined Kavanaugh and will ultimately emerge stronger because of it? Which do you think?
The first.
You think
the
that Kavanaugh's
undermining the Me Too movement. Excuse me. I don't want the ladies to get mad.
I think Alexis DeSantis is who wrote this piece in National Review. It's a good piece. She writes that the political circus overwhelming the Kavanaugh confirmation will almost certainly weaken the Me Too movement in the long run by undermining its promise that the truth matters and that it will enable us to obtain justice, which is ostensibly what most fair-minded Americans want, right?
Right.
Conversely, Nate Silver writing at 538 blog, the GOP's least worst option is if Kavanaugh withdraws, and soon. And he goes through, replacements waiting in the wings that could potentially get confirmed by the midterms or in the lame duck between November and the seating of the next Congress, where the Republicans to lose the Senate, which 538 puts at about a 30% chance. He writes, Nate Silver, the longer the GOP takes to replace Kavanaugh, the worse the timing becomes for them. If, say, the confirmation process on Kavanaugh drags out for another 2 weeks before he's voted down and withdrawn, and then Trump takes another 2 weeks to choose a replacement because the overall process has become such a mess, then the confirmation before the midterms would be challenging. There also might not be enough time to seriously vet the new nominee before the lame duck session, giving Republicans less margin for error than 2. So he goes through this. He's making a strictly Machiavellian political calculation, not taking into much account the precedent that would be set if Kavanaugh withdrew, or if the president pressured Kavanaugh to withdraw, or if Senate Republicans folded and left Kavanaugh potentially with no option but to withdraw. And where would the honor be in that? I know this is not a topic that we talk about much in politics because they're so limited in supply. But the honor, if you believe Kavanaugh is telling the truth, if you believe that even were the allegations true, they should not disqualify him or anybody else for being a Supreme Court justice, and if you believe that the left, the Democrats, Senate Democrats, are, and their handmaidens in the media, are doing nothing other than playing gutter character assassination politics with little regard for accusers or accused in furtherance of political power, then how could you take the position that Kavanaugh should withdraw or his nomination should be withdrawn and consider yourself a person who has any honor, any integrity? If you won't fight this dynamic, if you subscribe to the picture I've just painted of what the landscape is, then how do you make this sort of cynical political calculation? Well, let's just dump Brett Kavanaugh. Let's get rid of him. Then you're doing what the left is doing. Bring in Amy Coney Barrett. Let's see if she does better.
Let's see if she drank in high school. I mean, I know. It's so crazy.
But 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Sort of a two-part question. Does the Kavanaugh circus undermine or even destroy Me Too, or does Me Too destroy Kavanaugh? And if you think Me Too ultimately gets the better of Kavanaugh, should you cut bait or should you stand and fight? That's sort of the conversation that's happening on the Hill and in political circles as evinced in these competing op-eds. One by Nate Silver in 538 blog, one by Alexis DeSantis in National Review.
And Lindsey Graham did say, too, that let's not confuse people who are being accused in this Me Too moment era.
Everything about Judge Kavanaugh screams, this is not true. He is not Bill Cosby. He is not Weinstein. He's lived a good life. This is an allegation 35 years old that's unverified, and I'm not going to ruin his life based on that. Show me something credible. They've yet to do it.
And the only thing that we know so far that she's bringing to the table that she submitted as evidence is 4 letters from 4 different people, one her husband and 3 friends, who said that she had mentioned it between 2013 and 2017. As the first they'd ever heard of it.
Just a correction, Alexandria DeSantis is the woman who wrote the piece in the National Review, not Alexis. Sorry about that.
Oh, phew.
Jim in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. You know, I had to channel my frustration over this through action by calling the White House and my representatives, at least, and I had encouraged everyone listening to do that. But beyond that, who are these people that are capable of holding this man in judgment? I mean, if you look at the 2 words of credibility and judgment, and who has credibility in this issue? Definitely, Judge Kavanaugh has credibility. He's demonstrated that his entire life. That is not to be said for any of these other people, including the people that are now sitting in judgment of him, that are going to either decide to vote for him or against him.
Well, yeah, but that may be the case, but the Senate has the advice and consent constitutional responsibility, and they're executing. And whatever you think of the individuals on the Senate Judiciary Committee or in the Senate, that's how it's going to play out. So the question is what to do about the reality on the ground.
Exactly. And but we need to move forward quickly on this, not out of expedience, but because before it gets buried into the weeds, gets deep in the weeds with all this circus, and where every freak show that comes out of the left shows up and starts poisoning the entire process. So we need to keep Grassley needs to keep a steady track. Say, okay, what would we do in a court of law? You know, what standards need to be met for us to meet our obligation? Let's stick with that, and then we'll deal with these other issues eventually. But right now, let's stick to the issue of getting this man nominated.
All right, thanks for the call, Jim. A future United States Senator from Illinois, Casper in West Chicago.
Hi, good morning, Dan.
Morning.
I just want to answer to your question about why the Democrats are doing this about the lawyer that the Republicans want to put to make the questions.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans are already loose there because they are putting somebody who is a Republican. They are putting somebody without question the other side about if they agree with this lawyer. The right thing to do is to take, if they want to put a lawyer to ask the questions, well, ask the other side, okay, we don't want to make the questions. Do you agree to put a lawyer, and what lawyer do you want to put?
Yeah, let me ask you this. Casper. I know what you're saying. Stop talking. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, I know. Let me ask you a question. Do you think I heard you twice the first time? Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think a Republican professional sex crimes prosecutor who's a Republican, do you think that woman, in this case, does her job on a daily basis professionally, is able to, regardless of political concerns?
They can find somebody else.
You didn't answer my question. You didn't answer my question.
Just answer my question. They can find...
Bye, Casper. If you can't answer my question, you're answering my question. Of course you can. Just as you would say a Democrat could do the same thing in their professional responsibilities as a sex crimes prosecutor. And
the Senate Democrats tomorrow, they're going to be showboating. It's going to be just. You think Cory Booker is going to be measured?
It's a Senate hearing. Of course they're going to be.
Hi. Oh, thank you so much for coming. We know it took a lot for you to get here. Blah, blah, blah.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
The players are fired up. The coaches are prepared for battle. The student section is rumbling. The band is ready to rock. And you're ready for victory.
Touchdown, Northern Illinois.
Every game, every victory is right here on the Husky Sports Network.
The NIU Huskies versus the Eastern Michigan Eagles. This Saturday at 5. Pregame at 4:30. Right here on AM 560. The Answer.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Imagine a world where Yeti are about to discover us.
I saw a Smallfoot. How do you know it was a Smallfoot? Because it had a small foot.
Tomorrow, come face to face with a legend.
Oh, look at you. You're adorable.
Don't stop believing. Smallfoot.
Yeti or not, here we come.
Only in theaters tomorrow. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I thought I had a sinus headache for a few days, but I had a massive brain aneurysm, hemorrhage of the brain, and a stroke. And I was on my deathbed. I was on a respirator in a coma for 35 days. And 3 months later, I came home in a wheelchair. I had double vision. I had to learn to walk again, to speak again. 1 and 1 is 2, write the alphabet. You know, if I went out and did a little something, I'd come home, I'd be in bed. Now, I'm up by like 5:30 in the morning, and I go to the gym. I do shopping. I cook. I have energy all day. I mean, I feel great. Overall, my whole outlook, just feeling, my mental aspect, everything is better.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Governor Honor continues to lie, not be in charge, and be incompetent at 6:36.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and catch up with all the news. Here is Mike Scott.
Cleanup underway after severe thunderstorms hit the Chicago area yesterday evening. Strong winds triggered warnings for much of the area. About 37,000 lost power. This morning in Huntley, there are downed trees and power lines and reports of other damage in the west and northwest suburbs. Mexican authorities are now in control of the entirety of Acapulco's police force after suspicions that it had been corrupted and infiltrated by drug gangs. State and federal police, the Marines, and the state prosecutor's office carried out the takeover Tuesday. Police officers in the beach town were disarmed and detained pending an investigation. U.S. authorities are warning those who would want to vacation in Acapulco not to go. Security tight for President Trump's UN visit in New York, especially outside Trump Tower where the president spent the night. Today, the president chairs a UN Security Council session and participates in meetings with a number of heads of state. Yesterday, the president accused Iran of being run by a corrupt government.
Iran's leaders plunder the nation's resources to enrich themselves and to spread mayhem across the Middle East and far beyond.
The president also fingered Iran as the world's top state sponsor of terrorism. Republicans have chose a female prosecutor to question Christine Blasey Ford at Thursday's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell explained that decision.
We're looking for the truth here. We have hired a female assistant to go on staff and to ask these questions in a respectful and professional way.
Veteran Arizona prosecutor Rachel Mitchell will do the questioning on behalf of the 11 Republicans on the Judiciary Committee. Bill Cosby wakes up this morning in prison. The comedian and TV actor was sentenced in a suburban Philadelphia courtroom yesterday to 3 to 10 years in state prison. The 81-year-old Cosby was sentenced for drugging and sexually assaulting a former Temple University athletics staffer. Here in Chicago, the defense will continue presenting their case today in the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke. A fight in the Wrigley Field bleachers in which a fan hurled racial slurs is going viral. The team says everyone involved was interviewed after the Cubs-Pirates game and banned from the ballpark for the remainder of the year. White Sox beat the Indians 5-4. Was the Pirates over the Cubs 6-0. Cubs are clinging by their fingernails to a half-game lead over the Brewers in the NL Central with 5 to play. The news service of Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. 6:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Did you know that your sump pump is the heart of your basement waterproofing system? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. You know how many sump pumps fail? That's right, all of them. It isn't a matter of if, but rather when your pump will fail. Unfortunately, you may not realize there's a problem until your basement is flooded and you've incurred thousands of dollars in damages. At Permaseal, we make it easy to have your sump system evaluated and a reliable pump and battery backup system installed. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL to schedule your free inspection. We've received many calls from happy customers whose basement and belongings were protected during this past rainy season. But don't take our word for it. Check out our reviews with the Better Business Bureau. You'll see that many of your friends and neighbors are part of the Permaseal family. Get the peace of mind that comes with a dry basement and a healthy home. You know who to call. Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I've been on it now. It's got to be close to 5 or 6 years. But I've never run out, and I like to have a little cushion if I want to double up. If I feel a little, like I need a little extra, I don't have to worry about being stingy with it. I'm 54 years old, but anyway, 9 years ago, almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years this December 6th. And I went to work one day. I went, and I thought I had a sinus headache for a few days, but I had a massive brain aneurysm, hemorrhage of the brain, and a stroke right at work. And I was on my deathbed. I was on a respirator in a coma for 35 days in the brain trauma unit of the hospital in New Jersey. And the only reason they even tried to save my life was because I was 44 at the time. And 3 months later, I came home in a wheelchair. I had double vision. I had to learn to walk again, to speak again. 1 and 1 is 2, write the alphabet. My body's been through a lot. And, I used to be in bed for most of the, if I went out and did a little something, I'd come home, I'd be in bed. Now, I'm up by 5:30 in the morning, and I go to the gym. I do shopping. I cook. I have energy all day. I'm talking to you now. I sound pretty wired. And I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and, I feel great. Overall, my whole outlook, just feeling, my mental aspect, everything is better. And when I came home, I was on 17 medications, not 17 pills. 17 medications, maybe 40 pills a day. Now I'm down to 3 very, very, very low-dose pills, and I'm hoping to get off of everything here. Where I was to what I am now, it's unbelievable. I'm so blessed. So you're speaking to literally a miracle.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Megan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
6:37. Check on the morning roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Eden Spur eastbound traffic stop and go from Tri-State to Waukegan Road. The inbound Eden's has about a 2-minute delay. Sister Road at the junction. Kennedy inbound, slow going 190 to Cumberland. And Austin Central getting heavier approaching downtown. Looking at 25 minutes. O'Hare to the Burns Circle. Outbound 23. On Eisenhower, brake lights go on. Wolf to Harlem and Kedzie to the Circle. 53 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 31. Mount Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35. Bryant, 32 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 28 minutes. I-80, the merge, Bishop Ford, 30. Northbound Tri-State side from the Reagan toll to the Ike, but Adams still a jam. The Tri-State down to the Kennedy. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Clouds and sun, breezy and cooler, a high of 68. Clear and 49 overnight. Currently 51 at O'Hare and 47 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Let's look stateside for a minute here. State of Illinois. The governor's race.
Yeah, how's that going?
Depends on your perspective, I guess. Bruce Rauner is out with a new ad. Is
he on a Harley or in the tool shop?
No, he's outsourcing it to third parties.
Is this his wife again?
You can question whether the Senate Republicans on the Judiciary Committee should outsource their questioning to a third party, a professional sex crimes prosecutor. The Governor Rauner outsourcing his messaging to a third party, that's a good idea, but maybe not as good as it sounds. Here's the ad from a quote-unquote lifelong Democrat.
I'm Ann Wedner, and I'm a lifelong Democrat. In 1972, I went door to door with my mom to support the Equal Rights Amendment. Today, I'm not happy with Washington, but I'm also heartbroken about Illinois. We have to fix our financial problems. And Bruce Rauner is the only candidate with the courage to do it. Yes, Rauner is a Republican, and I'm a Democrat. But this isn't about party politics. This is about saving our state.
No, that's Diane Rauner's best friend. Wasn't she the maid of honor in their wedding?
Pretty close.
Because Diane Rauner's a Democrat.
The lifelong Democrat in Rauner's ad voted in 4 GOP primaries. The lifelong Democrat in Rauner's ad was her firm that she founded, Kent Road Strategies, based in Winnetka, was paid $50,000 from the Rauner campaign last year.
Oh. Well, in 1972, when she was not old enough to vote, she went door to door.
Yeah.
Pushing for the Equal Rights Amendment.
We have a lot of toddler Republicans in office right now who voted for that same stupid pro-abort, anti-woman gambit of the left, the ERA, that's still bandying around the empty heads of the left. And, 8 out of the 22 Republican senators in this state and a handful of Republican reps, too, who surrender as their opening bid. So there's Rauner, still incompetent, because that's incompetence. This is political incompetence. And let me tell you something about Rauner and why he's at 27%. There's a number of reasons I've discussed at length. Benedict Rauner, the betrayals, and we'll get to another thing that he
He's
exclaimed.
a progressive Republican, Dan.
That's one of the reasons. One of the other reasons is this all-star team he was going to put together, a bunch of superstars. This was him on the campaign trail and him for the last 4 years, and everybody he nominates is a superstar or appoints or surrounds himself with or puts on the payroll. I'm sure after cutting this spot from Ann Wedner, now a superstar. The people around him, and there are exceptions, of course, but many of the choices he made, talk to people in higher education, talk to people who are in the social service space, particularly serving special needs persons, talk to people in the business community, entrepreneurs, people making decisions about whether to stay or go. And they will invariably, to a person, tell you that this administration has bad people in it. bad people in terms of competence and bad people in terms of disposition. So this is what happens, and this will continue to happen, by the way. Remember, we replaced the worst governor in America in 2014, being Pat Quinn,
Right.
with the worst governor in America at present, and now we're going to do that again.
Which makes me sick because J.B. Pritzker, he doesn't seem like a governor to me. He seems like a mascot. You know what I mean? You know George Prindle from Naperville, he was a great guy, but he was officer friendly, and he was kind of, the mascot of Naperville. And I feel that J.B. Pritzker is going to be the mascot of Illinois.
I don't think you should desecrate George Prindle's name by comparing him to J.B. Pritzker.
Rest in peace, George Prindle.
So we like having the worst in high office because we're sold on the jolly fat guy who wants to wear, and who's got billions of dollars, who wants to wear the sash for 4 years. Just as so many, including conservatives, were sold on Rauner because he was different than the retreads that were running. And I understand the desire for difference, but you still have to make an evaluation on the individual, what their background is. Rauner, a promiscuous political donor. Rauner, some dubious relationships with the other side. Rauner's pronouncements about how he likes to hang out more with Dems than Republicans.
Yeah, but I voted for Rauner because I wanted something different. I
understand.
bought into the bull jive.
Right. And so he wanted to wear the sash for 4 years for epitaph material. So we went that way. And now we've got J.B. Pritzker who wants to do the same thing. So we're going to go this way because what? He's new. I mean, he's new to most people. He's not new to people inside the bubble, but he's new to most people. So that's what we'll do. But so there are layers to this, though. When you're an incumbent governor who spent $100 million on branding over the last 4 years, and you inherited a state that was the worst run in the country, and you've continued to own that title, made things demonstrably worse across a range of issues while betraying the constituency that elected you. That's how you get to 27%, and it's difficult to do.
As an incumbent.
$100 million in branding.
Well, he's not going to get a lot of return on his investment.
No kidding. He
can't get that money back.
He also said this, which is just an incredible statement, and it shows how completely foundationless he is, completely disingenuous he is. He will say anything, be anything, try anything to hold on. It's not going to work. It's desperation, and it smacks of it. He reeks of it. He says to Rick Pearson, who apparently was sober enough to record for a brief moment, to record what Rauner had to say. Rick Pearson, who's another this is the kind of journalist quotation marks that Rauner will talk to because he'll propagate the narrative. Rick Pearson is a compromised transactional hack of a journalist who was on George Ryan's famous Fay-Well favors list because he's a politico. He's not a journalist. He picks his favorites. He picks his storylines, and he prosecutes them, in exchange for alcohol, apparently. I have no idea.
And just ancillary issue, but talk about journalists. I was with a bunch of alleged ones. When they start taking selfies at homicide scenes, that's a little self-serving. that's not what people do. But anyway, go on.
Well, newsreaders aren't journalists either.
Yeah, that's...
So here's what he said to Pearson. This is Rauner. Okay. I have lived through my two primaries I've had in my time in public service. I've seen it in both parties in the state of Illinois. And for America to function effectively as a democracy, we can't go to the most extreme elements of each of our political parties. It won't work. It will not work well. I got to tell you, holding the center has been incredibly hard here as governor. Done my darndest. Held it as firmly as I can. But holding the center in today's American politics and in Illinois politics, tremendously difficult, but we'll stay the course. Hey, don't change a thing in 2019. That's Bill Daley's slogan. Governor Rauner's apparently trying to steal it.
I've done my darndest.
He's trying to hold the center. From the extremes in Illinois, I'm sorry. Please name a conservative governor of Illinois in the last 50 years. Please, Bill Brady, who's sort of not really.
He was a governor.
No, I know, but I was going to say even a nominee.
Oh, a nominee. Okay.
Bill Brady was establishment through and through. He votes conservative mostly. Presses red when he's supposed to press red, green when he's supposed to press green, because he represents a conservative area, Bloomington. You put Bill Brady in on the North Shore, and he'd be Bruce Rauner. Guarantee it.
He seems like an empty suit. There's no emotion. I don't know.
You
He
may
just
be
can't connect to people. I've met him several times.
You may
and
be
there's
onto
just
something.
He's missing something.
The center, the republic, the state is the extremes. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is the vacuous statement of a Bruce. This is the vacuous statement of Bruce Rauner. This is somebody who is preternaturally incapable of being honest, of having an original thought, of prosecuting a case, of making an argument, of holding himself accountable for what's happened on his watch. He's not in charge. He's not in charge of.
No, I'm not in charge.
He's not in charge of the party either. He's the guy who's financing the entire Republican Party. What are you talking about? Jim Durkin and Bill Brady? Who's in charge of the Republican Party the last 50 years in this state? Conservatives? I mean, other than the extremists they allowed to be nominated, the Nazi called Art Jones in frickin' Lipinski's congressional district because these centrists were asleep at the switch. I'm sorry, where's the...
Their excuse to me was, but he came in at the last minute. Like, then you should have been manning the store and making sure that didn't happen or put somebody in there.
Point to the conservative reformer a la Scott Walker, Mitch Daniels, who's been in charge at any level in the state of Illinois in the last 50 years, who's failed because they were too extreme. I mean, I want to hear names. I want to hear names right now. He's the guy who spent $100 million. He's the governor. He's got two welfare queens as his minority caucus leaders in the House and the Senate who have folded in. He had 1/3 of the House Republican caucus vote for the largest state income tax increase in Illinois history. He's got 1/3 of the Senate caucus voting for the ERA. He's got percentages, handfuls of caucuses, members of both caucuses voting for junk science on gender. He signed Sanctuary State to scale Tiny Dancer and the left's Sanctuary City in Chicago and Sanctuary County in Cook. That's the center? The extremists are in charge? What are you talking about? And by the way, even though there's socialists on the left, they're not in charge either. The Combine is in charge. It remains in charge. Now, that may change in the near term as these Combine feudal lords age out, eventually. You know, Burke and Madigan, Cullerton, the crime family heads are not going to be here forever, so we'll see what comes after them. But the extremists aren't in charge. The kleptocrats are. The transactional people, you know, like Bruce Rauner, that have no core, that are only interested in title and power and leveraging both for cash. That's who's been in charge. Bruce Rauner continues to lie or be ignorant. Pick. To be incompetent and to delude himself into believing that he can destroy and betray the base that elected him to gather a electoral block he can never get. That's why he's at 27%. It has nothing to do with Jeannie Ives. It has nothing to do with conservative reformers. It has nothing to do with conservative policy positions because his administration has had nothing to do with any of the above.
Well, a lot of moderate Republicans always come up to me and say, well, Dan destroyed this party. I said, no, Dan did not. Rauner destroyed the party with his lies and that he's a progressive Republican.
The party was in
disarray,
tatters before Rauner got here, and it will have to be rebuilt and still has to be rebuilt. I mean, the people come up to you.
They do.
I'm sure
I
they do.
tell them you're in the bathroom.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do because they're part of the kleptocracy I'm talking about. George Ryan going to federal prison. That didn't destroy the party. No. Edgar's pension ramp.
Oof.
That didn't destroy the party. Tax increases, surrenders to Republicans, being junior partners to Chicago Democrats. That didn't destroy the party. Standing for nothing other than protecting your piece of turf and your immediate financial interest. That didn't destroy the party. No. Because we've done the same thing that we've tried to do the same thing that has been accomplished in Wisconsin and Indiana and Iowa and Missouri and Michigan and Kentucky now and Tennessee. Right? Is that what we've done? Give me the names. I want to hear them. Make the case for me. I've made my case for those people who suggest that those who will not step and fetch are destroying the party, even though they've been in charge of nothing. I've not been in charge of anything in the Republican Party. Ever. I want to hear the case. Give me the names. Who should we go all in with? And in what direction? Because, right, electing people is the means to policy ends. Oh, is that something the Republican Party understands, believes, cares about? Is that what we've seen for the last 40 years? You talk about the probationary period for Mike Madigan. What about the probationary period for the Republican Party paradigm in Illinois? How's it going? It's not about me. You don't have to try me for anything. Conservative reform. You got backbenchers in the House and Senate that are conservative reformers. Elevate one of them in both caucuses for statewide office. The Tom Morrisons and the Alan Skillicorns and the Jeannie Iveses, who at least made an attempt and provided a choice. Or don't delude yourself like Ronner and wind up in the same place as he is going to in less than 50 days, in 6 weeks. A footnote in history as another terrible, failed, worst governor in America during his time at the wheel in Illinois. Got a lot of those. Anthony in Plainfield.
Thanks for taking my call. If any of the listeners out there believe that Rauner is not a buffoon at best or a total liar at worst, I mean, this example of the outsider Democratic voter, which is a real insider to Rauner, if they don't believe that that is how this guy rolls, I mean, a middle school kid running for student council wouldn't have chosen such an act. So
thanks for the call, Anthony. Appreciate it. Deborah in Arlington Heights.
Well, I don't know. We're stuck in Democrat prison. Nothing's going to happen until Madigan and Cullerton go. And I voted for Bruce Rauner. I think it was should have paid attention to the red flag that his wife is a flaming liberal. And I definitely think that something I mean, how can you be so opposite and not have that affect you? I'm disappointed. I don't know where we're supposed to go with this. There's nowhere to go. What do we do?
Thanks for the call, Deborah. I mean, I'm telling you what's probably going to happen. Some people don't want to confront this. Number one, you should still come out and support state legislative candidates because that's where it starts. It's where it's always started. Until you get control of the House and Senate, you can't change anything. It doesn't matter who the governor is. You can't make the structural changes that are necessary. So you can't walk away from suburban Republicans like Peter Breen and Lombard or Tom Morrison, Ballantyne. Out west, you have a chance to improve on that surrender Republican Steve Anderson, who we drummed out of office with Dan Ugasti. And there's good people in office, running for office. Marilyn Smolinski up in Northwest Suburban Cook, where we've got to do better. Jillian Burness and Schomburg. I could go on and on. You see my ads through my PAC. These are the candidates I support. They should be supported. Elect them. That's the start, because it's the start of picking up the Republican Party and building it around something that's lasting, not cult of personality or somebody's checkbook.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I'm Lou Dobbs. President Trump calls out China at the United Nations. The United States wants OPEC to cut oil prices, and Dunkin' Donuts dropping donuts. Those stories next.
How much do you spend on your pest control each year? $200, $300, or even $500 or more? What if I said you could spend less than $25 a year, even less with promo code SAVE20? Then listen up. G'day, I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free, and yes, it is possible to rid your home or business of unwanted pests for less than $25 per year. The answer is Plug-in Pest Free. Our best seller, the Plug-in Pest Free Pro, will cover up to 4,000 square feet. Now that's fair dinkum. for just a one-time cost of only $249, even less with promo code SAVE20. You'll be pest-free for years to come. Log on to gopestfree.com today. Use promo code SAVE20 and start driving those pests away. Don't spray and regret. Plug in and forget. Gopestfree.com. That's gopestfree.com. Promo code SAVE20.
President Trump says the United States will no longer tolerate China's unfair trade practices. The president telling the UN General Assembly that the United States will not be taken advantage of any longer. Earlier this week, the Trump administration imposed new tariffs on another $200 billion of Chinese exports to the United States. The president also using his UN speech to criticize OPEC. President Trump said OPEC countries are ripping off the rest of the world with high oil prices. Trump called for lower prices, pointing out the United States defends many of those OPEC nations. Dunkin' Donuts is getting a new name. Donuts still on the menu, but the company renaming itself Dunkin' to reflect its increasing emphasis on coffee and other drinks. The name change will officially take place in January. Please tune in to Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
What if being in recovery from a mental or substance use disorder was something we proudly showed the world? Millions of people are in recovery, sharing hope and support with family, friends, and community. Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Republicans have hired a prosecutor for tomorrow's hearing with Brett Kavanaugh's accuser. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer says this is not a criminal trial.
There's no presumption of innocence or guilt when you have a nominee before you.
Now, Republicans have hired Rachel Mitchell from Arizona to question Christine Blasey Ford and Kavanaugh for them about her claims the Supreme Court nominee groped and tried to sexually assault her as a teenager 36 years ago.
She is known as a victim's advocate. That enables Republicans to say they're showing sensitivity to Dr. Ford. Since Mitchell is a woman, it helps the GOP deal with the fact that they believe Democrats have been wanting to exploit the appearance of 11 Republican men on the committee, peppering Dr. Ford with questions and potentially looking like they are bullying her.
That's Fox's Ed Henry. The lawyer for the second accuser, who claims Kavanaugh exposed himself to her in college, says she'll recommend that Deborah Ramirez not testify unless there's a FBI investigation. And despite Democratic objections, Republicans plan a committee vote on Kavanaugh's nomination Friday. President Trump will target Iran today as a dangerous state sponsor of terror, chairing a UN Security Council meeting the day after he got a laugh at the General Assembly.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country.
And that's when they interrupted him, starting chuckling.
Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Well, the U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, just told Fox and Friends the media has it wrong, claiming world leaders were not laughing at him.
They love how honest he is, and it's not diplomatic, and they find it funny.
And Haley says
they were falling over themselves to get a picture with him, to talk about how great his speech was.
Delta Airlines appears to be flying high the morning after a computer glitch grounded all the U.S. flights for the airline for more than an hour, causing delays. This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Clear skies. 53 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It is a morning of cleanup after severe storms struck the Chicago area yesterday. Strong winds triggered warnings for much of the region and heavy rain as well. Downed trees and power lines are centered on McHenry and Kane counties. At its height, about 37,000 ComEd customers lost power. A Chinese national who served in the U.S. Army Reserve is accused of recruiting spies for China. Federal prosecutors say the 27-year-old came to the United States in 2013 on a visa where he earned a master's degree here in Chicago. According to the Tribune, a criminal complaint unsealed yesterday accuses him of sending information on 8 potential spy recruits to Chinese state security in 2015. The defense continues to present their case today in the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke in the deadly shooting of Laquan McDonald in 2014. Yesterday, his legal team presented a computer animation that recreated the shooting of McDonald from Van Dyke's perspective. Chicago Police Department paid tribute to a fallen police commander shot and killed earlier this year.
He was a kind officer, husband, father, and role model that all of us strive to be, and that many of us here today were fortunate enough to have as a friend.
The department remembering and retiring the star of Commander Paul Bauer. A man receiving a nearly $3 million settlement from the Chicago Archdiocese over claims he was sexually abused as a boy by disgraced and imprisoned former priest Daniel McCormack. Chicago sports. White Sox winners over the Indians 5-4. Pirates blanked the Cubs 6-0. So the Cubs now clinging to only a half-game lead over the Brewers in the NL Central with 5 to play. The news, a service of the T.J. Martell Foundation. T.J. Martell Foundation, music's promise for a cure. To learn more, visit tjmartell.org. That's tjmartell.org. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I feel wonderful. I mean, a while ago, I was walking and my whole left side went tingly, and I don't know what happened. I've had the after effects of that in my hands and my legs, and I've noticed that since I've taken the fruits and veggies, I don't have that anymore. So that is one thing that I am very, very pleased with, is I don't feel any of that tingly sensation in my foot. It's like my nerves are getting healed or something. It's just wonderful. I love this. I'm very, very impressed with this product.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
Renowned medical correspondent and endurance race champion Bob Arnott, MD.
People ask me, how do you keep competing at the age of 70? Healthy living is important, but so is pain relief. If you have pain, you can't train. So I'm thrilled I discovered Salonpas Lidocaine Plus. This unique topical pain reliever contains 2 safe and effective anesthetics. Nothing has worked better for me.
Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, cream or roll-on.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Ryan Siebert, CEO of SG Homebuilders and a customer of Signature Bank. Over the last 10 years, my business pivoted multiple times to adjust to the fluctuations in the Chicago real estate market. Signature Bank's partnership with us and their ability to adapt to changes has allowed us to become a leading custom home builder. Signature Bank is a relationship-based business bank right here in Chicago, providing services and advice that address our unique situation. And they serve as a trusted consultant on what works best for my business. Signature Bank helped us build SG Home Builders while we were busy building dream homes for our clients.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio. Do your part to release a child from poverty today.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Eden Spur eastbound traffic stop and go from Tri-State to Waukegan Road. Inbound Eden's has about a 2-minute delay, Sister Road at the junction. Kennedy inbound, slow going 190 to Cumberland and Austin Central. Getting heavier approaching downtown. Looking at 25 minutes, O'Hare to the Burn Circle. Outbound 23. On Eisenhower, brake lights go on. Wolf to Harlem and Kensington Circle. 53 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 31. Mount Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35. Bryan, 32 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 28 minutes, I-80 to Merge, Bishop Ford, 30. Northbound Tri-State tight from the Reagan toll to the Ike, but Adams toll with jam. Tri-State down to the Kennedy. Traffic, I'm Jim Talamonte. From the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with clouds and sun, high 68, clear night, low 49. Sun and clouds tomorrow, high 70, partly cloudy night, low 51. Some sun, then clouds Friday, high 64. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Sunshine and 51 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Dr. Huxtable is in prison this morning. Bill Cosby yesterday sentenced to 3 to 10 years for a 2004 sexual assault of a Temple University athletics department administrator.
Yeah, just they shackled him up right away, and he did the old man shuffle. He is 81 years old and legally blind, and took him into the jail where they processed him, took his mug shot, and soon he'll be transferred to state prison.
And then, of course, you get the dueling public pronouncements, one from the prosecutor, one from Cosby's representation. Here's the prosecutor in the case.
For decades, the defendant has been able to hide his true self and hide his crimes using his fame and fortune. He's hidden behind a character created, Dr. Cliff Huxtable. It was a seminal character on TV, and so was the family, but it was fiction.
Yeah, not true. The sweaters were real, but the character of the Dr. Huxtable character apparently and quite clearly was not. So that was the prosecutor. Now, you ready for Cosby's representative?
Yeah, he's his spokesman. He's Andrew Wyatt. He's been with him this whole time.
Yeah, he...
Because Cosby fired his attorney. You know that before the sentencing?
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks before, didn't like his job that he did and said, bye-bye.
Sure, the conviction didn't help any. I get that. So it's left to a PR representative, and Rachel Maddow would be proud of this foray into identity politics as an explanation for the occurrence of something you didn't like, the most racist and sexist trial in United States history.
I believe and think it is important to point out that this has been the most racist and sexist trial in the history of the United States. Dr. Cosby has been one of the greatest civil rights leaders in the United States for over the last 50 years. He has also been one of the greatest educators of men and boys over the last 50 years. This was not pointed out to the jury or allowed in court because the racist and sexist mass media was attacking and denouncing Dr. Cosby whenever his lawyers even hinted there was racist and sexism present. All three of the psychologists who testified against Dr. Cosby were white women who make money off of accusing black men of being sexual predators. It is no accident that the prosecutor still worked so close with anti-black and anti-male activist groups who tried to extort $100 million from Dr. Cosby in 2014 and continues to produce racist and sexist publicity against him through the 35 clients. What is going on in Washington today with Judge Kavanaugh is part of that sex war that Judge O'Neill, along with his wife, are a part of.
And they're singing the song, Gloria, G-L-O-R-I.
And then Mr. Wyatt went on to say that the judge in the case is like school on a holiday, no class.
Aw.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Yeah,
Well, we have some audio from inside the courtroom.
Now you will get ready for the zim-zam and the babbity-bibbity, and you will take off your clothes like voo and voom, and get ready for the most splendiferous pudding pop you have ever seen.
Yeah,
I think that's
Bill
what he's going to
Cosby
be walking around in
meeting
state
his
prison.
cellmate. Yeah.
Well, Anthony Wyatt also compared, with wrong persecutions, comparing, what happened to Jesus.
They persecuted Jesus, and look what happened. Not saying Mr. Cosby is Jesus, but we know what this country has done to black men for centuries. So Mr. Cosby's doing fine.
But I don't.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack there. I'm not saying that Mr. Cosby is Jesus. I'm not saying he's not.
Hey, watch yourself.
What this country's done to black men, I don't know how that connects to the the crucifixion of Jesus. I'm not exactly sure. I'm struggling to connect the dots, but I appreciate the rhetorical flourishes. It is very, very instructive. I say again in this case, if Mr. Wyatt would have been talking about a more sympathetic accused,
that he never apologized. Sorry.
And less sympathetic accusers, what would the left be saying? What would the left be saying about the identity politics that he used? White women accusing black men of being sexual predators and so getting paid to make those accusations. It's interesting, the response from the left, or the lack thereof, the response from women's groups, or the lack thereof. Why wouldn't you chastise Mr. Wyatt for that? Perhaps they
he spoke
know they
after.
live in glass houses on the topic.
Yesterday he spoke after the survivors, a group of them, and a number of them. They're half of his accusers. There's 79 total. About half are white and half are black. And they spoke. They felt vindicated. One lady said, "I feel like 30 pounds have just been lifted off my soul." So this is the only court hearing that we know that is going to take place, because it's the only case where the statute of limitations had not been expired. So hopefully do you think he'll go into general population? Or they'll have to keep them separate?
Do not care.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do you believe Springfield works for us? Sean Thompson from Elmwood Park doesn't.
Nobody represents me, and nobody represents you. They represent themselves.
And Susan Michaud from Wheaton's home values are suffering for it.
Our property values are going down because our taxes keep going up.
Your property taxes go up, your home value goes down. The government takes your home. Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes. Gino Fiore-Avanti of River Forest is leaving Illinois because of high taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Sean Thompson blames both sides.
It's bipartisan failure.
You either force politicians who oppose property tax caps out of office, or they force you out of Illinois. A group of independent property tax reform candidates are running to save your home and our state now. Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org to take up their fight just as they have taken up yours. You stay. The politicians go, because they're the ones who suck. SaveYourHomeNow.org.
Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Don't you love the fall and sleeping with open windows? But are you really sleeping as well as you could? The MyPillow buy one, get one free offer is back for September. And if you haven't purchased your MyPillow yet, here's a chance to get one for yourself, give one as a gift, or maybe to your spouse. And I love that you can move the fill to give you the support you need regardless of sleep position. Never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. MyPillow is made in America, washable, dryable, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. So go online or call now for this great buy one, get one free deal on premium MyPillows. You can also get 30% off of everything, including the MyPillows mattress toppers we've been telling you about, those pet beds that my dog Bunky recommends, and luxury Giza cotton sheets. Call 800-489-0201 and use the promo code Amy, or visit mypillow.com, mypillow.com.
The following is a paid announcement.
Now, Geiger Wealth brings you Grow My Retirement.
Thanks for joining us today, where once a week we get together to talk about retirement planning. Bill Geiger, welcome. I know that your firm focuses on working with couples in their late 50s to early 60s, preparing them to retire with confidence. But Bill, what does it actually mean to retire with confidence?
Mike, isn't that what we all need and want? To be able to retire with confidence. This is what I talk about with people every day. You want to be able to pay your bills. You want to be able to take the grandkids on vacation. You want to know that you're not going to run out of money. You want to know that you can leave a legacy. It's all good stuff. But Mike, retirement is a really, really long time. We could be retired for 20, 25, 30 years. Basically, that's how we define unemployment, going a long period of time without a paycheck. So how do you do that? How do you retire with confidence? The key to retiring with confidence is you want to create dependable, sustainable income in your portfolio that's going to last you for the rest of your life. Nothing's perfect, but when you're in retirement and the next big downturn comes along, you want to be able to sleep at night and know that you're okay. And you should actually work on creating more income than what you need. If you have more income than what you need in retirement, you'll know how you're going to pay your bills, go on a trip, take care of the grandkids. You'll know that you're not going to run out of money. And you'll know that you're going to be able to leave a legacy. And folks, that's retiring with confidence. Mike, I know you're going to talk about this in just a moment, but for the next 5 couples who call in today who have at least $500,000 in their retirement portfolio, we're going to do on a complimentary basis a full-blown retirement plan for them. We're going to work with them on how to set up a plan so they know how to protect what they have, so they know how to create a dependable, sustainable income stream, and so they know maybe for the first time ever have that confidence to know that they have a game plan to move themselves into retirement.
Bill, this is a fantastic opportunity because, folks, nothing can be more frustrating than working hard your entire life, saving as much as possible for retirement, then having no idea how you're going to make your life savings last 20 to 30 years or more. Bill and his team at Geiger Wealth can help. They're going to sit down with you personally to create a full-blown plan for your retirement. Folks, this is up to a $3,000 value. It's complimentary for the next 5 couples who have at least $500,000 saved for retirement. Call 800-681-2498. Again, that's 800-681-2498. Together with you, Bill and his team are going to sit down and translate the complex financial planning process into easy-to-understand steps with a roadmap to help you get to where you need to be. Call Geiger Wealth right now for your complimentary, personalized, full-blown retirement plan. 800-681-2498. That's 800-681-2498.
Geiger Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance offered through DeBlanco Inc.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from a VA client.
I do have a very close personal friend. Him and his wife were both Army. They did a couple tours. They were denied their VA loan at the 11th hour. They got the carpet pulled from underneath them. So, you hear horror stories like that. With you guys going through the VA process, you guys really did most of the legwork. I mean, just a matter of getting my paperwork in order and making sure you guys had the right documents so that you could push it through, make it happen, and get us the keys to our new home.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-500-5588. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-500-5588 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-500-5588 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-500-5588.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do you believe Springfield works for us? Sean Thompson from Elmwood Park doesn't.
Nobody represents me, and nobody represents you. They represent themselves.
Ann Peterson from West Chicago isn't getting her money's worth out of Springfield.
I don't believe that we're getting additional value for the additional taxes that we're paying.
Your property taxes go up, your home value goes down. Politicians waste your money. The government takes your home. Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes. Gino Fioravanti of River Forest is leaving Illinois because of high taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes. They've just gotten out of control.
It's bipartisan failure.
You either force politicians who oppose property tax caps out of office, or they force you out of Illinois. A group of independent property tax reform candidates are running to save your home. Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org to take up their fight just as they have taken up yours. You stay. The politicians go, because they're the ones who suck. SaveYourHomeNow.org.
Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, question, should he withdraw his nomination? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Should he withdraw his nomination?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm not talking.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about Jared Polis.
Oh.
Oh.
Who?
I want to.
Hey, you got me on that.
I want to apply the new standard, the Kavanaugh standard. Colorado Democrat gubernatorial nominee Jared Polis, one of the, I think, half dozen openly gay members of Congress, allegedly pushed a female employee who was taking files from an office in Boulder, Colorado, according to a police report from June 23, 1999. Polis is a member of Congress now. As I mentioned, he's the Democrat nominee for governor in Colorado this cycle. Patricia Hughes was Polis's outgoing personal assistant who tried to take files after letting him know she was stepping down, according to a police report. When she tried to leave, Polis didn't let her leave. He grabbed her, I should say, and pushed her back into the office. She said in the police report that when she was pushed back, she was pushed back into a filing cabinet and hurt her leg. She said she tried to call 911, and he twice hung up the phone. The third time she got through. Police did find files that did not belong to Hughes in her bag, the personal assistant. They also found, quote, 2 bruise marks on her left inside bicep and a red welt on her thigh. The welt on her thigh, she said, was from being pushed back into that cabinet when she attempted to leave. Polis was 24 at the time of the incident. Hughes, 46. She subsequently passed away.
What?
But she did obtain a TRO, temporary restraining order, against Polis that lasted for about a month in 1999. So, again, according to the Kavanaugh standard that the left has established, this is somebody who made an accusation. Now,
women are to be believed. Yeah.
Well, it's a police report. Yeah. We have to litigate it on her behalf posthumously. But should Polis, who's running for an executive office, a high office, one of 50 governors in the United States of America, should he have to withdraw his nomination because of this incident?
Yes, he does. If there's
according to that standard,
right? But if there's if there's physical evidence that he did this to her, a statement, she had a restraining order against him, I think she has a pretty credible claim. And if we're applying the same standard across the board, and women are to be believed even if they're dead, then yes, he has to step down.
Well, this is the con that Trump called out yesterday when asked about the state of play with Kavanaugh.
I think he's just a wonderful human being. I mean, I think it's horrible what the Democrats have done. It's a con game they're playing. They're really con artists. They're trying to convince. They don't believe it themselves. Okay, they know he's a high quality person. They don't believe it. It's just resist and obstruct. They're playing a con game, and they play it very well. They play it actually much better than the Republicans. They're lousy politicians, and they have lousy policy. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They want to get rid of ICE. They want to get rid of law enforcement. They don't want to take care of our military. They want to raise your taxes. But they're good at one thing. That's obstruction and resisting and con.
And one other thing that the president said, he's repeated an argument that many have suggested the results of this circus surrounding the Kavanaugh nomination. I disagree, but let's hear the president out.
It would be a horrible insult to our country if this doesn't happen. And it'll be a horrible, horrible thing for future political people, judges, anything you want. It'd be a horrible thing. It cannot be allowed to happen. And the Democrats are playing a con game, C-O-N, a con game.
Is there any?
It's a shame.
Is there any?
They know it's a con game. They know he's high quality. And they wink at each other. They're winking. They know it's a con game.
I agree with him that it's a con game, and I agree the precedent is terrible for our politics and our republic. I don't agree, though, the argument that who's going to come forward and hold themselves out to be a Supreme Court nominee.
A lot of people would jump at that chance.
Or a cabinet official. Or yeah. I mean, look,
but
this is right. Climbing the ladder inside the Beltway is like climbing the corporate ladder anywhere else. Yes, it's replete with danger. But the idea that somebody else from the 25 of sort of pre-qualified potential Supreme Court nominees by the Federalist Society and Leonard Leo, that they're not going to come forward and accept a nomination because of what's happened to Kavanaugh, I don't buy that.
But one thing, then he stepped on it, I thought, because he attacked the second accuser.
And she said, well, it might not be him, and there were gaps, and she said she was totally inebriated, and she was all messed up, and she doesn't know it was him, but it might have been him. Oh, gee, let's not make him a Supreme Court judge because of that. This is a con game being played by the Democrats.
I understand where he's coming from, and I feel the same way, but the president should not get involved in that. He should just step back.
Yeah, I agree. He should resist the temptation to comment on Ramirez or Blasey Ford. It's just, it's unnecessary.
It doesn't serve him well.
And, I mean, especially with respect to Ramirez.
Who's not going to be testifying, by the way. Tomorrow.
Right, and she's been asked, according to Kim Strass of the Wall Street Journal, no less than 5 times for a statement, for corroborating statements, an opportunity to testify tomorrow, and she's declined to respond. Mike in New Lenox, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. What I'm struggling with here is I think there's a playbook on all 25 of the people on that list.
Well,
and if that's the case, meaning they're running a play right now on Kavanaugh, and I think there's a playbook on all of them. So what I think needs to happen here is the Senate Republicans need to fight back, and they need to bring a penalty to the senators that are doing this. And there's a history of censoring senators for withholding documents, and I think they need to take the fight inside the Senate. Until they do that,
censure Dianne Feinstein.
Yes, and perhaps Booker for admitting that he groped a girl, and now he's got a problem with Kavanaugh, and Sherrod Brown for what happened with his wife, and now he's got public statements out there, and censor these senators and bring the fight to them. She would lose her chairmanship. I think she's maybe retiring in a little bit, but
she's running for re-election.
Yeah. Okay, so she would lose her chairmanship if she were censored. I mean, bring the bite to this, because I think the Senate Republicans right now think, oh, it's back to the good old days when everyone would get along inside the Senate. But this new breed of senator is not like that. They're bringing the hard scrabble fight right into the body, and our guys are sitting back there like thinking it's still 1965 or 1972 or 1985, and everyone gets along.
Yeah, thanks.
That's gone.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I agree with taking up the fight, and I agree that those senators who've acted unprofessionally and unethically should be knife-onged, to borrow from the Duke Lacrosse case. There should be a penalty for fraudulently destroying or attempting to destroy somebody's life, somebody's professional career.
And I just wish that Kavanaugh, when Cory Booker is going to ask him a question like, hey, you admitted to getting drunk in 1992 and groping a girl and trying to feel her up her shirt. Bring that back in his face, but he's got too much poison grace. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll tackle President Trump's speech at the UN, particularly the economic components of it, with Steve Moore at 7:37.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Clear skies, 50 degrees. People are coming forward to try and cooperate. Christine Blasey Ford's allegation that the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh tried to sexually assault her in the early 80s. Attorneys for Ford handed over four sworn declarations to the Senate Judiciary Committee ahead of Thursday's hearing on abuse charges that Kavanaugh flatly denies. President Trump will hold the news conference this afternoon as he wraps up meetings at the UN fall session. Meantime, the president yesterday at the UN defending his trade policy.
We believe that trade must be fair and reciprocal. The United States will not be taken advantage of any longer.
Addressing the General Assembly, the president says global trade has become broken and singled out China for criticism. Tech leaders will be grilled on Capitol Hill today about safeguarding consumer data. Representatives of Twitter, Google, Apple, and AT&T are scheduled to testify. The woman who accused comedian Bill Cosby of rape and sexual assault, those women say they finally have justice after he was sentenced to prison time yesterday.
This has been a long journey to justice for all of the accusers, particularly for Andrea Constant and for her family.
Attorney Gloria Allred flanked by some of Cosby's accusers. The judge imposed a 3 to 10 year sentence on Cosby in state prison. Cleanup underway here in Chicago as thunderstorms struck yesterday evening, triggering strong winds and rain around the region, especially in McHenry and Kane counties. No one is in custody in the deadly shooting of a man who chased down a hit-and-run driver on Chicago's South Side. A fight in the Wrigley Field bleachers in which a fan hurled racial slurs is going viral. It happened Monday at a Cubs-Pirates game. Everyone involved was interviewed, then banned from the ballpark for the remainder of the year. A Stager man faces 30 years in prison for a 2017 attack on a woman in his home. Ryvon Lee was found guilty of attempted murder and aggravated battery in a Will County courtroom yesterday. White Sox over the Indians 5-4, while Chris Archer had 6 shutout innings and the Pirates blanked the Cubs 6-0 at Wrigley. The news service of Unbound.org. Right now there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Picture your son in 10 years. What kind of man do you hope to see? I know you want your son to be a man of character. It's Dan Proft, and I urge you to consider Northridge Prep, the #1 all-boys school in Illinois for 2 years running. Don't miss their fall open house on Sunday, October 21st. Northridge Prep is an independent Catholic school for boys in grades 6 through 12, located in Niles. There's no brainwashing that's prevalent elsewhere. They instill the traditional values that you hold as parents. Northridge Prep is all boys with an all-male faculty. They celebrate your son's natural enthusiasm and energy. It's a good place to be a boy. Every teacher is a great role model who gets to the hearts of their students. Their demanding liberal arts curriculum produces well-rounded men with the ability to think for themselves. Grads go on to the best universities, including the Ivy League, and have top athletics and arts programs. I strongly encourage you to attend Northridge Prep's open house on October 21st. To learn more, visit northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Do you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled returns? If you knowingly decline to file a tax return or have failed to pay money owed, you could be subject to criminal prosecution. If you owe the IRS money and suspect you're under a primary investigation or soon will be, you need to call Alleviate Tax. The IRS has never been more aggressive at going after owed money and can legally attempt to collect unpaid taxes for up to 10 years. But you don't have to be afraid. Call Alleviate Tax today and see whether you qualify for newly passed tax amnesty programs that can stop proceedings against you and settle your tax debt once and for all, potentially saving you thousands of dollars. But don't wait. These tax relief programs must be requested and promptly applied for. The IRS will not inform you of these opportunities. Don't risk liens, levies, wage garnishing, or even losing your home. Let our experts solve your tax worries. Call Alleviate Tax today. Call 800-514-5100. That's 800-514-5100. Again, 800-514-5100.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. You know, I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. You know, I'm a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Megan Crane, a weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:38. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Inbound Eden's jammed. Toohey to Montrose. It's 40 minutes from Lakewood Junction, outbound 28. On Kennedy, delays start at Canfield. It's an hour and 12 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 37 minutes from Montrose. 36 on the Express. Outbound 50 minutes to the airport. On Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown. 42 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound 46, 390. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 41 minutes. Ryan, 38 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 35. Tri-State southbound stop and go, the Adams Tollway to Irving Park. Northbound, 115th to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to Lawrence. On Veterans Memorial, heavy Fountain to Ogden with crash. It's traffic, I'm Chip Talamonte. From the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Clouds and sun today, breezy and cooler, a high only of 68, clear and 49 overnight. Currently 50 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Who will get the last laugh, Trump or the assembled heads of state at the United Nations General Assembly? Let me tell you something. His 35-minute speech, his address to the UN General Assembly was quite strong. Talk about speaking truth to the community of nations. I thought the best part was sort of a 2-minute foray in the middle that nicely explained the first principles associated with his foreign policy construct, the handle of which is principled realism. Trump on American sovereignty.
As my administration has demonstrated, America will always act in our national interests. I spoke before this body last year and warned that the UN Human Rights Council had become a grave embarrassment to this institution, shielding egregious human rights abusers while bashing America and its many friends. Our ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out a clear agenda for reform, but despite reported and repeated warnings, no action at all was taken. So the United States took the only responsible course. We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will provide no support in recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy. America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism.
America is governed by Americans. Nobody was laughing then.
They were not. And he did a great job talking about foreign aid. You know, we bailed you countries out, and you've never reciprocated. But of course,
the Human Rights
yeah,
Commission, the ICC, I love it. I love him putting it right between their eyes. But his braggadocio got a different reaction.
Yeah.
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
I mean, he handled it well
Yeah.
once they started laughing. But you just see this wave of people laughing, you know. But he was braggadocious, and I thought,
Sure.
But that's Trump. I mean,
Yeah.
that's him.
Nothing like getting laughed at by Burma. Okay. Who will have the last laugh? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by. Thank you very much.
Or New Zealand's prime minister holding her 3-month-old baby. She was laughing, too.
Chief economist for CNN, Steve Moore, joins us now. Steve, nobody is laughing. I mean, it's sort of, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me, I mean, I'm sort of a sucker for these talent shows. I love America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent. It reminded me of the Susan Boyle performance where she came out and
looking all
saying,
frumpy.
right, saying I dreamed a dream and knocked the place over. They laughed when she came out. They weren't laughing when she left, and that's sort of how I felt with Trump yesterday.
You know, I've waited. That was a great segment you just played, and I've waited about 40 years for a president to say that. I mean, even Ronald Reagan, who I adore, even he didn't, take it right to the United Nations. This was Trump is exactly right that the mission of the American president should be to put America first. I mean, why is the left so insulted by that? Of course, a president should put America first. It's so interesting, too, the contrast between the way Trump deals with these, very uppity and arrogant foreign institutions like the United Nations, and the way Obama did. I mean, Obama bowed down to these people. They loved Obama. I mean, they gave Obama standing ovations because he was the one who paid the bills. He was the one who said, whatever your problem is, we'll send you a check. You know what? The United States is no longer the ATM machine for the rest of the world, and it's about time.
And that clear message was sent definitely by President Trump. But what do you believe?
That's for sure.
Yeah. How do you think about our stance with Iran? Because that was our mortal enemy yesterday.
Well, I don't have a strong opinion about that. I think that obviously Iran is an enemy of the United States, and that's the thing about Trump. He doesn't pussyfoot around.
No, he does not.
He calls enemies enemies, and it's about time we have that. But look, the big struggle right now, much more important than Iran, is China, right? Mm-hmm. And we are locked into a kind of trade combat with China, and I think that's going to have, in terms of what happens with the U.S. On the global geopolitical situation over the next 5, 10, 20, 50 years, that's what's really going to matter is whether the United States can stand up to China and whether China will stand down here.
Well, let's talk about the economic portion of the program, his speech where he touted the U.S.-Mexico trade agreement, the U.S.-South Korea trade deal. He also said many nations in this hall will agree the world trading system is in dire need of change. And he talked about countries admitted to the WTO that violate every principle upon which the organ is based. And then he got specific about about United States, Illinois being one of those states. I just saw the 3 million manufacturing jobs lost, and I immediately thought Illinois. I don't know why. So he mentioned China in the context of losing 3 million manufacturing jobs, quarter steel jobs, 60,000 factories since China has joined the WTO. How did you take his trade talk portion of his address?
Well, look, I mean, Trump is more of a kind of protectionist in his orientation than I am. I'm obviously more of a Milton Friedman free trade guy, although I think Trump has some very legitimate points here. I mean, one of the things is, I think the WTO is just a joke. I mean, it's like the United Nations of trade, policy, and it doesn't do anything, right? And so, the big joke is that China is now threatening to take the United States to the WTO to complain about these terrorists, when for how long have they been in the WTO now? About 20 years or something like that. All that they've done since the day they entered the WTO is break every single trade rule. I mean, they impose the by far the highest tariffs. It's almost impossible for American companies to do business over there. We sell them, about $140 billion worth of stuff. They sell us $500 billion. So, I mean, it's a lopsided trade arrangement. And they don't, it's just a joke to say, well, we're gonna protest your trade policies against us. Look, Trump has to prevail here, and I don't think he's going to stand down when it comes to China. And the fact is, China is a big problem, not just with respect to the trade practices, but let's be honest. North Korea would not have a nuclear weapon today if it were not for China.
True, but I mean, how soon till consumers start feeling the pinch from this?
They will. You're right about that. I mean, Amy, I cannot deny that. You go to Walmart, you're going to pay more for stuff now. I mean, tariffs are taxes. We've said this many times. I mean, and the question is whether the American people are going to side with Trump on this. Or, it's interesting to me, by the way, that the strategy of the Chinese is to try to impose a lot of tariffs on American farm goods, our wheat and our cotton and our corn and soybeans. And it's interesting that there's an ad. I don't know if you guys have seen it in North Dakota, because we've got a big Senate race in North Dakota where Heidi Heitkamp, the Democrat, has an ad where she's standing next to a farmer who's in the middle of the field saying, these tariffs are killing us and we're not able to sell our wheat here in North Dakota. My feeling is, look, if we're going to do this and go forward with this, then every dollar that's raised in the tariffs, let's make sure that goes to the people who are being hurt by the terrorists. But look, I just don't think we can back down right now. I mean, if we do, this is a good time to pick a fight with China. We've got a booming economy. Their economy is reeling right now.
But how is the question, and then how to get to a better place, that lower tariff environment that we aspire to find.
I've asked this to you before on this show, and I'll ask you guys both this again. If they were not going to do it through punitive tariffs, how are we going to get China to start, behaving itself?
Well,
if you could come up with a better answer, I'm all ears.
Well, let me ask you this question. I ask the questions on this show.
Wow. Pipe it down.
This is what Trump said in directing his comments to China. I have great respect and affection for my friend President Xi, but I've made clear our trade imbalance is just not acceptable. China's market distortions and the way they deal cannot be tolerated. Strategically, I know that's probably good for domestic political interests, but is that something Larry Kudlow and the team think is smart in terms of a global address to the UN, or should these conversations mainly take place behind closed doors?
Well, look, I think it was appropriate for Trump to call out China. I mean, the only way we're going to win here is we need the whole world on our side. We need Germany on our side. We need Canada on our side. We need Mexico on our side. We need Australia and Japan on our side to say, look, to point to them and say, you're the bad actor. You're not playing by the rules. The global trading system is actually being disrupted by many of the abusive tactics that China is putting in place. I mean, look, I talk to executives, Dan and Amy, from major technology companies, and they say, you try to do business over there, and the first thing they do is you got to give up your trade secrets and your patents. Then they want ownership of the company, and then, they impose all these kind of tariffs on bringing stuff in. I mean, that's not free trade. And I think what Trump would say, if he were talking to you guys right now, is, look, I'm for free trade, but those kind of practices, you can't have free trade with a country that cheats and steals. And, I'm come over to his view on that. We need, and if Trump prevails, by the way, and China does start lowering their trade barriers in the United States, we're going to get freer trade. And Milton Friedman is going to be smiling from his grave.
All right. Let me ask you.
You sound skeptical, Dan.
Well, I'll hold my powder and watch. And because Larry Kudlow's there, I'm giving you wide berth. But I'm getting skeptical. Here, I want to ask you. I want to use this locally, and maybe this is something that we could factor into some type of trade negotiation with China. Maybe we could turn over Elon Musk to be put into a Chinese gulag. Musk, he has a plan. I don't know if you're aware of this. He had many plans. Blowtorch, but the fire thing.
Fire extinguisher?
No, that shoots fire. God.
A flamethrower.
Flamethrower. Thank you. Flamethrower
Hey,
company.
I got something right. Ding, ding, ding.
It's just like
ding,
a game
ding.
of password.
Did you say Jesus sheets?
Hello.
Geisa sheets.
Flamethrowers and the cars, the Teslas, and the bullet train. Well, sort of. He's got a 12-minute express train from the Loop to O'Hare. He's planning, and there's a new bill in. That is being bandied about in D.C. that would allow local airport authorities to use the passenger facility charge of $4.50 per seat, the ticket tax in Chicago, for transportation projects to airport properties. So like this boondoggle that Elon Musk is sold Rahm Emanuel on. And, there's no Elon Musk train without the federal gravy. My question is, should Elon Musk be imprisoned for life?
No, but you know what? He is, I don't think in the history of the United States, I may be wrong about this, but I don't think there's anyone in the history of the United States who has gotten more federal money and tax dollars from you and me than Elon Musk. I wrote a column about it 2 years ago about Elon Musk, calling him the $6 billion man, because by my calculations, SpaceX, Solar City, Tesla, all of those companies exist because of federal tax dollars. And we're just, can you believe that one person has gotten $6 billion in federal subsidies and grants and aid? I mean, now you're going to build this train that's, how much is that going to cost, by the way? I mean, how much federal, state, and city money is going to go into that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a money pit. I mean, whatever they say, multiply it by 10, right?
By 10, exactly. By the way, stop, my thing on this for all cities, including Chicago, stop building public transit. In 10 years, everyone is going to have a driverless car. You're going to push a button on your phone. The car is going to come. It's going to take you anywhere you want to. It's going to go door to door. We're going to have automated light switching and so on. We're going to have much fewer accidents. I mean, the whole transportation system is going to be based on taking you where you want to go, when you want to go there, not when the government wants you to go there, where you have to walk a mile to get to a train station, and then when it drops you off, you have to walk a mile to that thing. I mean, we're literally putting down tracks all over the country that in 10 years from now we're going to have to turn them up.
But here's what I want your definitive opinion on Elon Musk. Yeah. Is he a visionary, or is he Preston Tucker? Is he Harold Hill? Because I say the latter.
I think he's a little bit of both. I think he's a little bit of both. I mean, he's an incredible visionary. I mean, he's launching these private space, rockets and so on, which is pretty cool stuff. And I like that about. I mean, I like his visionary view of the future. I just don't like the fact that we're paying for it.
Yeah, by force, right? Exactly. Steve Moore, chief economist for CNN and Wall Street Journal columnist. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Being successful in business means overcoming enormous obstacles to serve your customers and community. AM 560, The Answer, wants to shine a spotlight on businesses that are thriving. We want to celebrate their success by finding out what makes these businesses unique, successful, and what we can learn from them. We want to know how you built it. Presented by Chicagoland Waterproofing. To tell us how you built it, go to 560theanswer.com/built. That's 560theanswer.com/BUILT. Sponsored by Signature Bank and Ozinga.
Critics are raving Smallfoot is the perfect family film.
I saw Smallfoot. No, you didn't. I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I saw it. It doesn't exist. I smell cover-up.
Get Yeti for a fun ride.
There are more small feet below the clouds.
That delivers instantaneous, infectious joy.
Let's do this.
Tomorrow, when you believe in something bigger, a little faith goes a long way.
Hi, little guy. You're adorable.
Smallfoot, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters tomorrow.
It's never a good look, guys, when you untuck a long, bulky dress shirt. You may think it makes you look casual, but more than likely it just looks kind of sloppy. So Untuck It makes shirts specifically designed to be worn untucked, which is the way I love wearing shirts. This is a casual shirt that's not too long, not too short. It's perfect. The shirts are designed so well, GQ calls them perfection. Untuck It shirts. I love these shirts. Log on to untuckit.com, UNTUCKIT Untuck it. And stop hiding your shirt with your pants and your pants with your shirt. Use the promo code MikeG and you'll get 20% off your purchase. There's also 25 retail locations across the country for Untuck It. UNTUCKIT. Untuckit.com. Check out all the new arrivals. Here's a good-looking shirt. I'm wearing these every day. Untuckit.com. Promo code MikeG for 20% savings. Untuckit.com. Your solution to perfecting casual.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I spent years studying how to make this the best. I didn't make this because I wanted to make a company. Other companies are starting to catch on to this, and I buy every single other product that comes out so I can look at it and see it and test it. And I fear that people will buy some counterfeit and take it for a couple of months and go, oh, it's a bunch of crap. Doesn't work. Don't be fooled. This is the real stuff. We have absolutely the best process, and I can say that because we purchase every single one and check them out.
I took everything that was on the market. Nothing ever worked. Nothing ever worked. And this is the first thing that's really worked.
Nothing can compare with the benefits of Balance of Nature.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. Chesterton observed that he who has gotten used to unreason is ready for unkindness. The left's big bet is a majority of Americans are not only ready for unkindness, they demand it. The more brutal, the better, as the horde feeds on frenzy, not reflection. This is on full display as the left sets aside any semblance of reason, concern for evidence, or respect for due process in pursuit of turning Brett Kavanaugh from Opie into Chucky in the public's mind. Unreason, Connecticut Senator Dick Missing in Action Blumenthal contends that confirming Kavanaugh would be an irreparable stain on SCOTUS from which it could not recover. Not Dred Scott, not Cormazo v. U.S., Brett Kavanaugh. Unkindness? Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirano says all the men of America should shut up and do the right thing for once. To be fair, Mazie didn't really mean all the men of America, just the white Christian men not of the left, as her colleagues made clear. This is not simply a matter of overzealous Me Too minders, as their lack of interest in Keith Ellison's case illustrates. This is the prosecution of a culture war by aspiring autocrats who deify themselves and vilify non-believers. They will create heaven on earth no matter how many political, professional, or actual graveyards they have to dig.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Senate Republicans have a new strategy questioning Brett Kavanaugh's accuser. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Let someone else do it.
We're going to have a professional litigator who is trained to do this.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says Rachel Mitchell, a prosecutor from Arizona who's handled sex crime cases, will question Christine Blasey Ford and Kavanaugh tomorrow over her claims the Supreme Court nominee groped and tried to sexually assault her as a teenager 36 years ago. Democratic Senator Chris Coons is critical.
I think if you're a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, you ought to be capable of questioning Dr. Ford yourself and not either hide behind or outsource that to a hired gun outside counsel.
Democrats also don't like Republican plans for a committee vote on Kavanaugh's nomination Friday, maybe setting up a full Senate vote next week. President Trump will take on Iran again next hour at the UN, chairing a Security Council meeting this time. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live from New York.
Dave, the big topic of that meeting, weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear, chemical, and biological. Expect Iran and Syria to be discussed. On Fox and Friends this morning, U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley said Iran is the biggest issue America has right now, citing the country's involvement in terror attacks.
They are very involved, whether it's Lebanon or Yemen. They are constantly in the middle of trouble, and they're not on our side.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani is expected to have a response either during the Security Council meeting or maybe just afterwards, Dave.
Tanya, he used to be America's dad. Now Bill Cosby is inmate NN7687 in a cell in Pennsylvania where he spent his first night after getting a 3 to 10 year prison sentence for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman.
We're glad the Judgment Day has finally come for Mr. Cosby. Mr. Cosby has shown no remorse.
Gloria Allred represents some of the other women who claim Cosby did the same thing to them. And Americans will pay a little more on credit card debt, car loans, and other borrowing if the Fed does what's expected today, raising a key short-term interest rate for the third time this year as the economy improves. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Blue skies and sunshine, but only 50 degrees. 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott, and there is cleanup underway after yesterday's storms struck especially heavy in McHenry and Kane counties. At its height, Storms cost power to about 37,000 ComEd customers. A Chinese national who served in the U.S. Army Reserves is now accused of recruiting spies for China. Federal prosecutors here say the 27-year-old came to the U.S. in 2013 on a visa, allowing him to earn a master's degree in Chicago. The Tribune, reporting a criminal complaint unsealed, accuses him of then sending information about 8 potential spy recruits to Chinese state security officers in 2015. The defense will continue to present their case today in the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke. Chicago's mayoral race beginning to heat up as candidate Willie Wilson accuses Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle of stealing his idea on bail reform. Meantime, a volunteer who works for the Gary McCarthy campaign was apparently fired from the Chicago police force after violating a protective order filed by a woman. Michael Kozenko was removed from the campaign after the newspaper started questioning him about his involvement. White Sox over the Indians 5-4 at Guaranteed Rate Field. Pirates blanked the Cubs at Wrigley 6-0. Cubs now clinging only to a half-game lead over the Brewers in the NL Central. It's 8:36 on AM 560. Time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Permaseal 800-421-SEAL, and time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Nike's reporting a strong summer quarter. Its earnings were better than expected. Its sales rose 10%. Though Nike's controversial Colin Kaepernick ad debuted after the company's summer quarter closed, Nike believes it is boosting sales. The Wall Street Journal says Nike's sales have been taking a positive turn in recent months. It's making an aggressive push with women and millennials. Ads also feature LeBron James and Serena Williams. Polling company SurveyMonkey is getting ready to go public. Shares are expected to start trading sometime today on the NASDAQ under the symbol SVMK. Merck has changed the rules so executives don't have to retire at the age of 65. Its CEO, Kenneth Frazier, now says he'll stay on the job after he turns 65 in December. The Dow was down 69 yesterday. NASDAQ added 14. S&P lost 3. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss Freedom Summit 2018, presented by Geiger Wealth Management, Chicagoland's retirement expert, on Saturday, October 27th. This year, featuring headline speakers, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark and James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. Also appearing AM 560's Mike Gallagher, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Chicagoland Waterproofing and by Tom Mirabaldi, independent agent for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 35-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Without further ado.
Hi, I'm Patty Fritz, Precision Payroll's first employee. Yes, I'm real. I love working with my team and our clients and providing the best service and support. Hard to believe it's been that long. But when you love what you do, it's great. And I do love what we do at Precision Payroll. I didn't start for myself either.
That's right, Patty. I was there day one, and I'm still working with you today. Hi, I'm Jack Bishop, owner of Priority Logistics in Elk Grove, and Precision Payroll's first client. Yes, I'm real too. Precision Payroll has served us exceptionally for 35 years. We've grown together over the years, and I look forward to many more to come.
Jack and Patty, thank you both for making Precision Payroll of America a great company to do business with. To join our growing ranks of clients, visit us at precisionpayroll.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of You Store It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of You Store It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salonpas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salonpas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salonpas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
When posting on most job sites, you get candidates.
I'm the sales director you're looking for.
But when you post on Indeed.com, you get the candidates just right for you.
I'm a sales director with an MBA, over 10 years experience, who's also fluent in Japanese.
With Indeed, you can add screener questions for a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates.
Arigato.
Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
It is 8:08 and a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Kennedy delays at Nagel. It is an hour and 21 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 53 minutes from Montrose, 42 in the Express. Outbound 53 minutes to O'Hare. Eden's 33 minutes Lake Cook Junction. Outbound 34. Eastbound towards a mess. Tri-State to Waukegan Road. Eisenhower 390 to downtown is an hour and 5 minutes. Outbound an hour and 3 minutes. Stevenson, an hour 14, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 41 minutes, 95 to downtown. Tri-State southbound stop and go. The Adams Toll to Irving Park. Northbound 115th, 47th, and from the Reagan Toll to Lawrence. But Adams Toll, it's a mess. Roselle to before Arlington Heights Road. 2 left lanes are blocked with a vehicle fire. Reagan Toll delays, 31 to Toyola and Raymond to Yackley. Traffic, I'm Jim Talamonte. From the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center and meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy day today with a mix of clouds and sunshine with a high of 68. And it'll turn out to be a clear night for tonight with a low 49. Mix of sun and clouds throughout the day tomorrow, high of 70. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently sunshine and 50. Next news coming up at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So it seems like Senate Democrats are down to 2 principal arguments in defense of Ms. Blasey Ford and to the detriment of Brett Kavanaugh. One is that you shouldn't outsource the questions to a third-party prosecutor, this sex crimes prosecutor they're importing from Arizona, Raquel Mitchell. And the other is that the other, in addition to outsourcing, is that there should be this FBI investigation. Those are the 2 arguments. You've heard them repeated most often from both, from all the Senate Democrats. So to respond to the need for an FBI investigation here with all of the statements that have already been filed by relevant parties from both sides, essentially, and the press accounts from names that have been offered up by Dr. Blasey Ford, I cede my time to 1991 Joe Biden, when he was on the Senate Judiciary Committee, speaking with a certain Supreme Court nominee named Clarence Thomas.
The next person that refers to an FBI report as being worth anything obviously doesn't understand anything. FBI explicitly does not, in this or any other case, reach a conclusion. Period. Period.
Very emphatic.
Judge, there's no reason why you should know this. The reason why we cannot rely on the FBI report, you wouldn't like it if we did, because it is inconclusive. They say he said, she said, and they said, period. So when people wave an FBI report before you, understand, they do not reach conclusions. They do not make, as my friend points out more adequate, they do not make recommendations. Judge.
So there you have it. And Mazie Hirano from Hawaii, whose profile has really been increased during this saga, much to her detriment.
Yeah, it hasn't helped her.
For people that have sense. She opined on outsourcing the questioning, Republicans enlisting an outside party to question Ms. Blasey Ford.
I think this is an example of the Republicans on the committee not wanting to reveal themselves to the American public, because what should be happening is that we should be asking the questions.
Well, you can ask your own questions. I don't like Republicans on the committee sort of
ceding their time, because each one gets 5 minutes to ask questions. They're ceding their time to this female attorney.
I don't like them capitulating to identity politics and being optics focused. John Cornyn has argued cases before the United States Supreme Court. Is he qualified to ask reasonable, matter-of-fact questions of anybody? Of course he is, and so are the rest of the senators.
Yeah, they can all show compassion, and they're not monsters.
The flip side of that is the left's logic. So the Senate Republicans are old white men, so by definition, Neanderthals, incapable of treating Dr. Blasey Ford fairly. So why would you want to put her through an unfair process? Why would you want to ostensibly re-victimize her again by having her subject herself to Senate Republicans, from your perspective, as opposed to having a professional in this space who prosecutes sex crimes as a matter of course in her daily professional life, and who knows how to treat victims of sex crimes in this context appropriately and ask the probing questions that get to the heart of the matter. So is it you want them to ask questions because you want to score political points, or is it you want to find the truth? It seems if you think the process would be unfair if they ask the questions, then you're not interested in the truth. And I need help squaring that circle. For said help, we're pleased to be joined by David Ferdoso, who's a writer and columnist for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. I have to say there isn't much of a circle here to square, though. And in fact, you're right. The idea that, it seems to me that the only point of this complaint is that they would love to see the Republicans ask a bunch of really insensitive questions and make fools of themselves, and that they're upset that that isn't going to happen. I can't figure out any other reason for making this particular argument.
Well, what about the Democrats? I mean, each Democratic senator is going to get 5 minutes, and what do you think Cory Booker and Kamala Harris are going to do?
Well, they've done so much grandstanding with this nomination. This is before any of this, sordid stuff came out. I imagine that talking to the reason they've hired a professional to do this is that you don't just want any prosecutor, you don't even want just any lawyer like John Cornyn to be asking questions of someone like this in a very politically and otherwise sensitive interrogation, right? You want someone who knows exactly sort of what's appropriate or inappropriate to ask someone in this situation, which is very hard. What I personally expect, although you never know, but what I personally expect is that it's going to be very hard for Democrats to ask questions. And if they're smart, what they'll do is they will take they'll take the focus off themselves and let her talk, right? That's what I would do in that situation. But if they get a little too greedy for the limelight, I think they could come off looking very bad.
Do you think it would be better if Senate Democrats on the Judiciary Committee outsource their questioning to Cory Booker's imaginary friend T-Bone? You think that? Maybe that.
T-Bone. I'd almost forgotten about T-Bone.
Yeah, maybe that would help provide that degree of separation they need, so Cory doesn't get in trouble.
I miss you, T-Bone.
That's right. And when you mentioned Joe Biden talking about faxing the Clarence Thomas hearings and the FBI, this is a very important point that I think people forget. The only reason there even was an FBI investigation in that case is that Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill were both federal employees on federal property when all of the allegations took place. Okay? That's the only reason the FBI ever looked into any of that stuff. And, the Constitution does not say that the FBI gives its advice and consent on Supreme Court nominations. That's the job of Congress, and Congress has its own perfectly good investigatory powers. It has subpoena powers. It has investigators. There are investigators who work for nearly every committee. This is something that, I think this is something that's not going to be solved during this nomination, but that Congress should be looking for ways to beef up its investigatory capabilities. Just to give one example unrelated to this of why it should. I mean, everybody should be thinking, well, Congress should have its investigators go after this. But another reason they should do that is that, look at this whole business with the special counsel, right? We have someone who everybody's saying, oh, is Trump going to fire the special counsel? The special counsel is investigating him. This would be the worst thing ever. Why is an executive branch agency investigating the president at all? Why can't we have investigators who actually are only accountable to Congress so that they have more latitude to do an appropriate investigation that may involve the president, right?
Well, speaking of that, I mean, just on another matter, there are other things happening in the world besides the Kavanaugh Blasey Ford saga. Tomorrow.
That's right. Trump and
Rod Rosenstein meet to discuss his future, and what's your sense of what that future is, and your opinion on what it should be, particularly with I was interested to read about this gentleman Noel Francisco waiting in the wings, a former Antonin Scalia law clerk. Boy, that seems like that would be a much better fit for Trump's interests and perhaps the interests of justice overseeing Mueller than has Rosenstein been.
Right. Well, look, my attitude toward this investigation all along has been that the more Trump says about it, the more it hurts him, and that the investigation itself is not going to hurt him. It seems highly unlikely, even with this Manafort news. I mean, you have the liberals kind of waiting for the great pumpkin here to show up and say that, Trump committed some kind of treason. I don't know. It's sort of hard even to define what they're expecting. It's so unrealistic. This was always a probe that was going to end up catching Manafort for his illegal activities, which people knew about even during the 2016 presidential campaign. They're saying, why is this guy being picked to run this thing, right? So I don't think that it's helpful to Trump to fire Rosenstein. And indeed, he's not going to. It looks like the Washington Post is reporting that Rosenstein is going to survive right through the midterm for sure, and that maybe after that he'll be decapitated. But that at least for now he's safe.
Yeah, but how could you trust him when he was?
Honestly, it would be very unhelpful to Trump to start firing people. If he had just not fired Comey, I'm convinced that this investigation would already be over.
But, I mean, it's hard to keep somebody on your team if you don't trust them. I mean, whether he was joking or not, he tried to, get his boss by secretly recording him.
Well, see, now that's the thing. We don't know that. And if you read carefully between the lines of the New York Times report on that and the Washington Post follow-up, what you will see is that, other people who were in that meeting actually, now look, I agree. If he actually said we should look into the 25th Amendment and getting rid of Trump, you should secretly record what the president says, then yes, he's got to go. No question about it at all. That's completely inappropriate. I mean, compared to impeachment, the 25th Amendment is just over the cliff because impeachment at least is a process that has some democracy to it, right? You voted for those members of Congress. If they get rid of the president, they must have a good reason to. With the 25th Amendment, and for a non-cabinet member especially to discuss the 25th Amendment, it's just completely inappropriate. Okay, so, having established that, though, it looks like in the Washington Post follow-up, some of the people who were involved in that conversation say that it happened very differently, and that McCabe may have tried in his memo to implicate Rosenstein, right? That those two guys may not have gotten along, and that McCabe, who was the one who wanted to investigate Trump, and when Rosenstein said something to him like, "What are you going to do, record the president?" he wrote down a memo that said, Rosenstein suggested recording the president. So, if anything, that is the reason why Rosenstein's not being fired, and it makes sense that he wouldn't be.
He is David Freddoso, writer and columnist for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Looking to refinance your existing home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Bill's family was cruising until he loaded $50,000 on his credit cards to cover expenses after his income was cut in half. Stressed out and living paycheck to paycheck, Bill called Team Hochberg for a free consultation. We consolidated Bill's credit cards into a 30-year fixed loan, credited all his closing costs, and reduced his payments over $1,400 a month. Bill was stressed out before calling and saved over $16,000 a year after calling Team Hochberg. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck like Bill and would like to see if refinance can lower your monthly payment, call Team Hochberg now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com.
Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Are customers passing you by because it's a major hassle to park in your lot? Convenient and safe parking may be one of the most overlooked aspects of your business. You've neglected your parking lot for way too many years. It's falling apart and could be scaring business away. Pavement Solutions can get your parking lot in shape. With proper care, you can extend the life of your current lot with Pavement Solutions' certified specialty blend product called Gem Seal, Black Diamond, and Duramax. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but the best seal coat product in the industry. It'll protect your lot from sub-zero temperatures to a scorching 110-degree sun and features an abrasive, non-slip coat for safety and durability. With Enduramax, your lot will have that brand new feel and look at a fraction of the price of a new lot. You and your customers will be safe, and your business will look great. For parking lot repairs to snow removal, go to fixmylots.org. That's fixmylots.org. And get a free estimate. Plus, learn about getting 5% off your next job from Pavement Solutions.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I thought I had a sinus headache for a few days, but I had a massive brain aneurysm, hemorrhage of the brain, and a stroke, and I was on my deathbed. I was on a respirator in a coma for 35 days, and 3 months later, I came home in a wheelchair. I had double vision. I had to learn to walk again, to speak again. 1 and 1 is 2, write the alphabet. If I went out and did a little something, I'd come home, I'd be in bed. Now, I'm up by like 5:30 in the morning, and I go to the gym. I do shopping. I cook. I have energy all day. I feel great. Overall, my whole outlook, just feeling, my mental aspect, everything is better.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do you believe Springfield works for us? Sean Thompson from Elmwood Park doesn't.
Nobody represents me, and nobody represents you. They represent themselves.
Ann Peterson from West Chicago isn't getting her money's worth out of Springfield.
I don't believe that we're getting additional value for the additional taxes that we're paying.
Your property taxes go up, your home value goes down. Politicians waste your money. The government takes your home. Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes. Gino Fioravanti of River Forest is leaving leaving Illinois because of high taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes. They've just gotten out of control.
It's bipartisan failure.
You either force politicians who oppose property tax caps out of office, or they force you out of Illinois. A group of independent property tax reform candidates are running to save your home. Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org to take up their fight just as they have taken up yours. You stay. The politicians go, because they're the ones who suck. SaveYourHomeNow.org.
Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, ticket giveaways. Your family's invited to the Siegel's Cotton Farm Family Day this Sunday with the Will County Republican Central Committee. Dozens of things for the family: food, cash bar, Illinois conservatives, and Lauren Spivak, author of Free Market Warrior. She's speaking at 3 o'clock in the new Amish Timber Frame Barn. The Amish Timber Frame Barn.
Well said.
Tickets only available in advance. So see the Will County Republican Central Committee Facebook page for details. And today we are giving away a set of 4 tickets for one family to the Siegel Cottonwood Farm Family Day, valued at $10 each. Caller number what?
6.
Caller number 6, 312-733-6993. That's 312-733-6993. Good luck.
Gotta reference this story, this impact on your friend Carlos and my friend too, since he provides me free stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, they're getting rid of the donuts in the Dunkin'.
Have they not seen what happened to IHOP when they tried to rebrand?
No, this is serious. They're changing over. Carlos told me this morning they're changing their names all in
Dunkin'.
January. It's just a Dunkin' because they're going to focus more on coffee, because half of their sales are coffee, not donuts.
Yeah, nitro-infused cold brew, as well as digital ordering kiosks. Now they have beta tested the name
Dunkin'?
the name Dunkin', dropping the donuts, in 50 locations over the past year, and customers have responded with fury, according to a report at BusinessInsider.com. They literally invented the word donut. They should keep it forever, said one Dunkin' Donuts patron.
How about getting rid of the Baskin Robbins part of the Dunkin' Donuts? There's so many that have the combo, similar to Taco Bell and Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know that? Are you from?
Yeah. What about?
I
think,
like Dunkin' Donut. DD.
The
Dunkin'
Waffle
Donuts.
House should merge or
With what?
partner with Kentucky Fried Chicken, because then you get the waffles and fried chicken, which is great.
That is the best.
That's the best breakfast.
Yeah, but apparently, I'm going to save my Dunkin' Donuts cups because they're going to be rarities. They're going to be collector items.
Go nuts. Homer Simpson is going to be unconsolable and inconsolable, too.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Fox News Channel host Steve Hilton. He's a Brit.
Sport of Tay.
Hopefully we won't insult him with that impersonation of a British citizen. He's the host of The Next Revolution on Fox. We'll talk to him about Trump at the UN, as well as the Kavanaugh confirmation proceedings. That's all at 8:38.
And later, everything we know about obesity is wrong. We'll talk to Dan, our resident obese person on the team here.
Morbidly.
But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Blue skies and sunshine, 51 degrees. The second woman leveling accusations at Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct is willing to testify, she says, before the Senate Judiciary Committee. However, her attorney, John Clune, told NBC News this morning that Deborah Ramirez, in his mind, has not yet been invited to do so.
And that's a decision that I'll certainly let her make. I would be very concerned about doing that, but it wouldn't surprise me if she would agree to do that. Well, we'll wait and see if she actually gets that invitation and go from there.
Republicans disagree, saying she's been invited multiple times. She also claims that Kavanaugh exposed himself to her at a party back in the 1980s. However, the New York Times says it cannot corroborate any part of Ramirez's story. Kavanaugh and his first accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, are set to testify tomorrow. The president in New York before the UN defending his trade policies.
We believe that trade must be fair and reciprocal. The United States will not be taken advantage of any longer.
The president singled out China for criticism and continues to chair a UN Security Council session today. He'll also meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister Theresa May of Britain, and Japanese President Shinzo Abe. The Archdiocese in St. Paul and Minneapolis, Minnesota, is bankrupt this morning because of clergy abuse. A $210 million bankruptcy settlement for the St. Paul and Minneapolis Archdiocese was approved. Survivors crowded the courtroom, more than 400 of them, as a bankruptcy judge approved that settlement. Flooding expected to sweep across 2 South Carolina counties very soon. Rivers in Horry and Georgetown counties are expected to crust, sending floodwaters 10 feet deep into the town of Georgetown. Cleanup underway here after severe thunderstorms struck the Chicago area, especially north and western suburbs. The defense continues today to present their case in the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke in the deadly shooting of Laquan McDonald in 2014. Sox beat the Indians. Cubs stubbed their toe on the Pirates again, losing 6-0. They're clinging to a half-game lead over the Brew Crew right now. The news service of the Positive Coaching Alliance got issues with youth or high school sports. Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports. Coaches and parents visit PCADevZone.org. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the downfall of our society.
A man who has led an exemplary life is accused of groping a girl in high school, and it's derailing his nomination to the Supreme Court. And I am not supposed to think my society is sick, but it doesn't matter to the left. The left is a moral fraud.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When he went to Washington, Joe Donnelly promised to fight for Hoosier seniors. But to be a fighter, you first have to show up. Seems that Donnelly skipped nearly 1/3 of Senate Aging Committee hearings, including on serious issues like Medicare and protecting financial security for seniors. So what was Donnelly doing when he was supposed to be fighting for us? Maybe Donnelly was out driving in that RV of his, like in his TV ads. Or maybe he was filling up that RV with campaign cash. Donnelly has taken more than $2.5 million from special interest lobbyists and lawyers. And Donnelly has repeatedly voted to help his special interest backers. Typical Washington. Old Joe shows up for special interest lobbyists and lawyers, but not for us. Sounds like Donnelly's taking Hoosiers for a ride. It's time to fire No-Show Joe. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Megan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
8:37. And a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Southbound 53, the roadwork delays from Northwest Highway to Higgins. Northbound at Stop and Go. The Adams Toll to Kirchhoff. Veterans Memorial southbound. Heavy St. Charles 22nd. Northbound South Roosevelt. The Army Trail Toll to 290. The Tri-State Tollway. Stop and Go southbound. The Adams Tollway to Irving Park. Northbound South Highway to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to Lawrence. Adams Tollway delays. Barrington Road before Arlington Heights Road after a car fire. Reagan Tollway tight. 31 to Viola at Raymond to Yackley. Aiden's 25 minutes, like Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, an hour and 13 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, quicker than the Express. Eisenhower, an hour and 9 minutes, 390 to the Circle. Stevenson, an hour 14, 355 to Drive. Ryan, 41 minutes, 95 to downtown. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on 8560 The Answer.
And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, clouds and sun today. Breezy and cooler, a high of 68. Currently 52. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Don't miss David Clark and James O'Keefe at Freedom Summit 2018. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Dan and Amy, next Friday, October 5th, join Jeannie Ives and me at the Illinois Family Institute Faith, Family, and Freedom Fall Banquet featuring George Barna, the most quoted person in the Christian church today. Get your tickets at illinoisfamily.org. illinoisfamily.org is the website. Today we're giving away 2 pairs of tickets to join Jeannie Ives, George Barna, and me for the IFI Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet next Friday. Valued at $100 each. 2 tickets to caller number
5.
Caller number 5, 312-733-6993. Caller number 5, 312-733-6993. Gets 2 tickets, $100 each, to the free, of course, to the IFI Banquet featuring George Barna and Jeannie Ives next Friday evening, or that would be a week from today, next Friday, October 5th. A week from this Friday,
Wow.
October 5th.
What are you going to wear?
I need Brett Kavanaugh's calendar so I know what day it is. Even from 1982.
Oh, that hearing can't come soon enough. I can't wait.
I want to go
see TV.
I want to go back to Trump's UN address because it was remarkable how much he put a bit of stick about, as Francis Urquhart would say, the Real House of Cards, by the way, not that Americanized version, the Ian Richardson, Francis Urquhart. That's the Real House of Cards. Put a bit of stick about with respect to Iran, with respect to Syria, reiterating that if the Assad regime uses chemical weapons, there will be an American response. With respect to the UN and corruption in that institution, that the United States is no longer going to finance. With respect to China on trade, boy, it was a sort of a Festivus type of speech, but done very professionally. I got a lot of problems with you people. Trump talking about the UN and outlining what principled realism means.
As my administration has demonstrated, America will always act in our national interests. I spoke before this body last year and warned that the UN Human Rights Council had become a grave embarrassment to this institution, shielding egregious human rights abusers while bashing America and its many friends. Our ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out a clear agenda for reform. Despite reported and repeated warnings, no action at all was taken. So the United States took the only responsible course We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will provide no support in recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy. America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism.
Americans govern Americans. Reject globalism, endorse patriotism. How do you react to the president's speech? Was it too much of a between the eyes address to the community of nations, or did his defense of American sovereignty strike you as the president striking the right tone? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. He started his remarks with a bit of unintentional comic relief.
Yeah, he sure did. He was just, he's a braggadocious person. We all know that, right?
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
And actually, when he said that, I thought he was kind of cute. I've never thought President Trump was good looking.
Yeah.
But when he started laughing at himself, it was, did I just say that?
Well, he could have. I mean, he
Let's
could
go
have.
back to sovereignty.
It was fine the way he handled it.
I thought it was adorable.
Water off a duck's back. He could have also said,
It was
"Yeah,
kinda hot.
okay, Liberia is laughing at me. Okay, yeah.
Hey, New Zealand,
Yeah.
Prime Minister, stop breastfeeding your baby and laughing at me, okay?
Well, right. They
He did make a
may have been laughing at the beginning, but much like Jonathan and Charlotte when they auditioned for Britain's Got Talent, they weren't laughing at the end. They weren't laughing after Jonathan and Charlotte sang the prayer from Phantom, of course.
Oh, yes, yes.
And they weren't laughing at the end when President Trump laid the wood with respect to terrorism, nuclearization, a free and fair trade policy.
Yeah, because President Obama was everybody's sugar daddy, really, when you think about it. Oh, you need something here. Keeps, giving them money we don't have. And President Trump just laid down the law, like, this is a new administration, these are new times, and these are the new rules. I loved it. I thought he looked very presidential. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, if you listen to the show, don't agree with the president's posture exactly on trade policy, and he reiterated a gross misunderstanding of economics he has with respect to trade deficits. But, however, the rest of that speech, and even parts of the trade speech, I mean, the message to China, unequivocal about their trade practices, was very strong. It was a well-crafted speech. It was well delivered with good humor to a hostile audience, and did not mince words. It's the kind of speech, frankly, more executives should deliver in the political realm, both at the presidential level as well as just at the state level too. I mean, that kind of for unvarnished honesty and substance.
And when the left was saying, "Oh, the world is laughing at President Donald Trump," Nikki Haley, who was on Fox and Friends this morning, said it was anything but. I mean, she said they were laughing because it was, kind of took him off turn, like he was being so strong. But every single one of those world leaders was chomping at the bit to try to get a picture with him, to try and get his ear yesterday. She said that people, they love him. Of course, we have some enemies, but, you kind of, again, keep your enemies close.
Well, and you also,
what the left portrayed it to be.
And you pick your enemies carefully, as he's done, and as the country has done. Well, maybe President Obama didn't, since he thought Iran was just a friend in waiting. But it's interesting to get some reaction. South Korean President Moon Jae-in discussing his relationship with President Trump on yesterday evening with Bret Baier. I can tell you that I've become more than a friend with President Trump, and between the two of us, there is absolutely perfect trust. So our South Korean ally, with which President Trump consummated the outlines of a trade deal with yesterday. Don in Bloomingdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Don.
And he warned our enemies and he embraced our friends, and that was very presidential, and he invited more friendship. So they could take him or leave him, but it was presidential.
Thanks for the call, Don. Jean in Grays Lake.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Yep, you're on.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you I'm 84 years old. I've gone
sound
through
very spry.
many presidents, and I'm very politically minded all my life. I have to tell you, this was the best speech I've ever heard in my life. He was magnificent yesterday.
What did you like so
That's
much?
all I wanted to tell you.
What did you like so much about it, Jean?
It's the way he spelled out everything, and I love the fact that he's so pro-American for a change. It's just everything. I think he's one of the best.
Okay.
One of the best.
Thanks for the call, Jean. Appreciate it. Joe in Lamont.
Dan, it's sort of sad that the really only conservative radio station in the morning that you're asking whether or not you think it was a good speech yesterday. I'm 55 years old, grew up with Ronald Reagan as my first president that I got to vote for. That was the best speech I've ever heard an American president say anywhere, because he doesn't do politics. He doesn't try to couch what he's going to say. He says it exactly the way it needs to be said. And I just get this feeling that, that question, was it a good speech? I asked every one of my friends yesterday. They said it was the best speech they ever heard. And it just seems like it's a never Trump, hey, we're never going to give this guy credit. That was the best speech I ever heard.
Well, I first of all, the question I asked was not, was it a good speech? The question was to get reaction to the speech. And I think I mentioned it, comparing it to Britain's Got Talent. Maybe they were laughing at the beginning, but they weren't laughing at the end, and that I like the speech as well.
Did you see the reaction from the German delegation when he told them that they're going to be beholden to the Russians for taking oil from them?
Yes, that was another good moment. That was another great moment.
Yeah, they were like, oh, my God, I can't believe he called us out like that. They laughed because he's telling them the truth.
No, thanks for the call, Joe. I mean, I liked it. I liked point blanking people and on the substance of the issues at hand, and he did that. I don't know that it was Reagan at Brandenburg Gate, but it was an excellent speech all in all. I agree. And this goes back again when Trump is scripted, and I'm not saying these aren't his thoughts too, but I mean, he's scripted. He's reading a speech. It's 35 minutes long. Everybody does it. It's not a big deal. But when he is scripted and he takes the time to make fully formed thoughts that are consistent with sort of where his impulses are, many of his impulses at least, make those fully formed thoughts his own, he can be very good. And he was very good yesterday.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
What if you could enjoy total peace of mind when it comes to home security? What if the best technology came from a local company who puts the customer's needs first? Alarm Detection Systems is the right choice for an alarm system with complete control from your phone or tablet. Know when your children arrive home from school. View live streaming video. Check up on your pets. Receive alerts for extreme temperatures. Know if leaks or floods have been detected. Get real-time text alerts sent to your phone. Family-owned and operated since 1968, Alarm Detection Systems understands that nothing is more important than the safety of your family. Your security system will be monitored by our central station in Aurora, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Alarm Detection Systems is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Our on-site security consultation is always free. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6322. That's 630-844-6322. Alarm license number 127000143.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing mortgage? Then you need to do what I did, and that's call David Hochberg and Team Hochberg. Today, meet Ted. He's an Army veteran who served multiple tours in Iraq upon returning home. Ted struggled with PTSD and getting back into civilian life. So Ted lived in multiple veteran homes before being introduced to Rags of Honor. Rags of Honor is a Chicago-based silk screening company. They hire homeless and chronically unemployed veterans. Now, Ted was a machine operator, got promoted to director of digital marketing, and recently left Rags of Honor after securing a high-paying job. Help unemployed homeless veterans like Ted. Go to ragsofhonor.us and purchase their silk screening clothing. Use promo code Team Hochberg to save 50% off the second item you purchase. Now, if you're a veteran securing a VA loan, call Team Hochberg, a lender who respects your service and proudly supports veterans. Call David Hochberg, Team Hochberg, at 312-751-1333. Team Hochberg helped me and thousands of AM 560 listeners, but guess what? They can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Do you know your bank's fraud tolerance? I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive. At Signature Bank, we have zero tolerance. While some of the big banks may write off smaller incidences of fraud, we use a multi-layered approach to fight fraud before it happens to our customers. There's been a record number of businesses hit with payments fraud this year. Keeping your business assets safe is our top priority. We are trained, and we will train you to recognize potential wire fraud threats and business email compromise scams. Call us today to find out how Signature Bank can work with your business to fight fraud.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I feel wonderful. I mean, a while ago, I was walking and my whole left side went tingly. And I don't know what happened. I've had the after effects of that in my hands and my legs. And I've noticed that since I've taken the fruits and veggies, I don't have that anymore. So that is one thing that I am very, very pleased with. Because I don't feel any of that tingly sensation in my foot. It's like my nerves are getting healed or something. It's just wonderful. I love this. I'm very, very impressed with this product.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code CHICAGO.
I can't contain my excitement any longer. I am, when it comes to meat, quality matters. And you know me, I'm a meat and potatoes guy. I made a switch to something called Butcher Box, a monthly supply of meat. I'm talking beef, pork, chicken. This Butcher Box experience is delivered right to your door every month. Butcher Box beef is grass-fed. Their chicken is free-range, organic. Their heritage-bred pork is far from the other white meat. Making it easy for you, too. You get $20 off your first box. Here's all you have to do. Go to butcherbox.com/MikeG. That's butcherbox.com/MikeG. Free ground beef for the life of your Butcher Box membership. Every month, you're getting pounds and pounds of beef, chicken, pork. You can also tailor the box to be just the way you want it. Check it all out. butcherbox.com/MikeG. butcherbox.com/MikeG.
Wow, we've been doing a lot of roofs.
And we're ready to do yours. This is Mark Olson.
And Greg Olson from Crumweedy. Okay, say it. If your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy. Remember that when you need repair or when you need a new roof.
It's so important to choose your roofing company wisely.
Here's our pitch.
Installation. It's the ball game.
We follow the manufacturer's specifications, so your warranty is totally intact. Most roofing companies don't do that.
When we give you a quote, we give you good, better, and best options. You decide.
And we're not going anywhere.
We're a third-generation family business. 65 years of doing great roofs.
We run the company on good, conservative values.
For any roofing problem or need, call your roofing guys, Crumweedy.
Do we have any special offers? Sure. Just ask. We'll take care of you.
Get all the info at myroofisneedy.com.
When your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy.
630-595-8020. 630-595-8020.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, since the Kavanaugh confirmation is mostly about Roe v. Wade for the left, it is worth noting information you're not going to get anywhere else. Nobody else is going to talk about it. 2017, fiscal year 2016-2017, Planned Parenthood, largest abortion provider in the United States, 321,000 abortions. The abortion versus adoption referral of Planned Parenthood, 83-1.
So 83 abortions to every one adoption.
Adoption referral. So so I mean, just in terms of this fraud of Planned Parenthood being in anything other than the business of abortion, that's the business, and it's the business of the 21st century Democrat Party too, which is why it's worth noting when the Trump administration moves to shut that business down. It'd be nice if House and Senate Republicans could muster the courage to rescind the $500 million in tax money that Planned Parenthood gets. That was a promise of Speaker Paul Ryan, you'll remember. But the Trump administration canceled a contract the FDA had signed to acquire fresh fetal tissue from aborted babies that could be then transplanted into mice for experimentation. As reported at cnsnews.com, unambiguous victory for the sanctity of human life, thanks to the Trump administration and officials throughout the government that are Trump appointees. The underlying question asked now is, will the federal government follow up on this cancellation to terminate its practice of spending another $100 million per year, in addition to the $500 million for Planned Parenthood, on research that creates a market for tissue taken from aborted babies? And remember, it's not that long ago we were discussing in detail what the findings of David DeLine and the Center for Medical Progress, those undercover investigations into Planned Parenthood facilities around the country that horrified people, even many people who are pro-choice. And so at least you have a Trump administration making, no pun intended, a baby step in the direction of addressing these problems.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, Quinn McCarthy, our associate producer, and, of course, Keith Conrad, our executive producer. We are back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. And tomorrow's a big day. Can't wait. What are you going to wear to work tomorrow, Dan, for the big day? Huh? Okay.
Same thing I always wear.
Same. Okay. Now let's go into the newsroom, catch up with news at home and around the world. Here is Mike Scott.
Fox with the very latest on the president at the UN today. That's coming up in a moment. Severe thunderstorms also struck the Chicago area, and cleanup continues. The defense presents computer animation at the Van Dyke trial. Cubs are blanked by the Buccos, while the White Sox beat the Indians on a walk-off single, and the Red Wings top the Blackhawks in the NHL preseason. Clouds and sun in your forecast today, breezy and cooler. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
He again praises his Supreme Court nominee.